Happy Friday, September 9th. Welcome to the Sci Fi Center live. Today is September 9th, 2022, and there are 112 days left of 2022, which means there are 107 more shopping days left till Christmas. So let me go ahead and say hi to the chat room. Let's see. Hold on. Let me fill in first. Sometimes it's behind us. And today we're going to be talking last episode of Game of Thrones for a little bit, even though we covered it in depth already. We are going to watch and go over the Black Adam trailer, which I thought was lacking, but I'll go into that. A couple other things. We're going to get into the AEW chaos or lack thereof, whether it's a work or not, whether it really matters or not. And then we're going to probably talk some Star Trek with Brian, since Star Trek Day was yesterday, and I didn't get a chance to delve into a lot of the stuff, which sucked because every September 8th is usually, I usually get some time to sit down on that one, but I did not yesterday, so I'm going to have to lean on him for that. So let me go ahead and bring in the two wingmen. Thade, how you doing? And Brian, what's going on, dude?
Sup?
Not much.
So
hello, chat.
Yes, hello, chat. How are you doing? How are you doing, Brian?
I can't complain too much. Just another beautiful day.
Yeah, every day above ground, especially since 2020. Just being able to get out of the fucking bed is something that should not go understated. Being able to breathe on your own, being able to walk on your own, not being hooked up to a machine, that's a good day. May not seem that way, but like I said, prior to the pandemic, probably a lot of people took that for granted. So, yay, we're all here. Star Trek Day was yesterday. What did you come away with it from yesterday, Brian?
Quite a bit, actually. The trailer for Picard Season 3 was epic. We got to see Gates McFadden in action again, which is always nice.
You think of the ship? What do you think of the Titan?
The Titan looked beautiful. I can't wait for the models on STO. That's going to be a lot of fun. Probably have to pay for it, though. Bastards.
Are you disappointed that there wasn't an Enterprise reference or an Enterprise in there, or did I miss it?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, I would have loved it. I'm sure we have to see something. I'm sure of it. Like,
well, the Enterprise is as much part of the crew as they are. So I would be disappointed if we didn't. I mean,
well, I see things a little differently. Actually, I think they're going to spin it off.
You think they're going to spin it off to another show?
Not yet. I think they're going to spin it off to the Titan. If they establish a good crew on the Titan, something that's compelling, I would love to see this story continue. I mean, and I know we all know that Patrick Stewart's he's getting up there. So I mean,
he's up there. He's up there.
No, so I mean, it's a perfect way to continue, because I'm sure like Frakes and everybody they still want to go.
Yeah, they're like 20 years younger than him, so they got a lot more left.
Yeah, I mean, and I think this is a perfect opportunity to get to tell that kind of story. I mean, if they could tie it into where we can get all three of those shows that ran during that similar time, Next Generation, Voyager, and Deep Space Nine, which we've already gotten connections of Voyager and stuff, but I want Janeway back. Like, there's a bunch of things that they could do to continue the story that they've set forth.
Well, I would want Janeway back, and I would also want to see what happened to the Voyager crew. I would like to see, because it's been 20 some odd years since that crew retired. Actually, 21 years.
Yeah, and same thing with Deep Space Nine. So, like, I mean, there's so much possibilities.
Can I share some thoughts here really quick, guys?
No.
Sure.
No, go ahead, man.
First of all, I think they may be possibly heading towards some DS9 stuff, just like from what I'm seeing some of the shows go towards right now, especially on lower decks. That would be cool. And the Titan, they are calling a Neo-Constitution class.
Just go all the way, man. Don't go halfway in. Just keep, why not? The Titan, I understand the relevance of the Titan, but to me, like I said, that the Enterprise inextricably it is connected in a heart and soul to those individuals that we're seeing. I mean, two different Enterprises.
Maybe we start out with the Titan and end up with the Enterprise.
Yeah, maybe they blow up the Titan and then like at the end of Star Trek 4 where they thought they were going to get a frigate. and then
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be interesting if we get a Neo Constitution class that is the new Enterprise F? Because I mean, like the Constitution class goes back to the original Enterprise. So wouldn't it be interesting if we've got a Titan class ship that was an Enterprise?
That would be cool. I mean, like I just think that mystique. I mean, if we're going for the mystique that they are going for in this show, I just think that. I mean, I thought it would have been cool. It's not going to be a deal breaker for me. Listen. I'm watching all the Trek I can. The only stuff I'm not watching on a regular basis is Lower Deck and Prodigy because they're just not for me. I mean, I understand people enjoy them, and I'm glad they're out there. But to me, the live action Trek is where my mind is right now, and I'm ready for the next season of Discovery. I'm really ready for Strange New Worlds, and I'm ready for Picard. I mean, I'm glad that it's not just. Listen, everybody ages differently. Patrick Stewart is. These last 4 or 5 years, he's aged really. He no longer, in my opinion, all due respect to Sir Patrick Stewart, he no longer delivers his lines as sharp and crisply as he did. And like I said, he's 81, 82. I understand. So I'm glad that they're calling it at this third season, and the other cast members that can help support him. Because remember, even though he's 80 something, the rest of the cast is in their late 50s, early 60s, which is considerably younger than he is. And they've aged. I mean, granted, Riker's a little fat, but that's okay. And obviously, Data is an android, and Geordi looks great. So they all look great. They all look crisp. I saw that trailer because I did see that after that show, and I thought it was gave me chills. But I'm glad that show is going to get a good send off. I hope Voyager, I agree with you, gets a similar treatment. And same thing with DS9. I hated the way DS9 ended as far as Cisco. That was the dumbest Star Trek ending ever, and I hope they can fix that. So let me go.
I'm looking forward to, like Stella said in the chat.
Hey,
I'm looking forward to the DS9, not DS9, the Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks crossover.
Oops. Sorry about that. Did I add you? I added you. I added you and removed you. How you doing, RJ?
Hello. What's up?
Just another Friday, like I said, just going through the quick motions of the week. I understand that you've been following D23. Today was video game day, and I just really
it was video game day, and it was also Disney proper, so Disney live action, animation, and Pixar and all that.
So basically a non-existing day for a guy like me. But I mean, for all you Disney fans out there, I'm pretty sure some of you guys are down there. I'm like, wow, I heard there's people. I mean, Campy is down there. He's going to be filming from down there. But
did you see Campia's stream last night? He said that Disney did not give him press passes for tomorrow's panel, so he may have spent thousands of dollars and may not be able to go to the panel.
No, he's going. They're going because he left the show. I was watching this show. He was leaving to pack up his stuff.
No. He's going to D23, but he said, I'm going to D23. But they did not give me the press pass for the Saturday morning panel, the big panel with Marvel, Star Wars, and all that. And he said, if I spent thousands of dollars and I don't get to go, then I'm going to be pissed. That's what he said.
Yeah, and it's weird because they did give him a press pass for something he went to and gave a review from a couple of weeks ago. I don't know.
All those Bob Chapek rants, I'm telling you.
Oh, you know what, though? Hey.
He got booed today, by the way, when they opened D23 and they had the press and the fans out there. He got booed very loudly.
I heard. I didn't watch it, but
I got booed.
Somebody
they never boo at D23.
Nah, he's done some stuff to be booed, and I like to give guys the benefit of the doubt, but he's made some questionable decisions, and he's filling the shoes of some legendary people who have made some really good decisions. So, unfortunately, he's up against the gun. But real quick on the Star Trek thing. So yeah, I did not get a chance to watch a lot. I mean, the big news for me that I was hearing from everybody was the trailer for the Next Generation trailer. So I'm happy about that. I know they were talking about some Lower Deck stuff. I know anything else of note, anything big or earth-shattering come out of that day announcement-wise, Brian?
No, it was mostly just the announcement for Picard season 3.
Okay.
The release dates in February 16th, 2023. Other than that. Yeah, they showed some stills from Discovery Season 5, which should be around the corner here pretty soon as well.
Yeah, because that'll run right into Picard Season 3, right? It'll be Discovery and then...
Yes, we should be nonstop Star Trek for the time.
Yeah, and then Strange to see. I love it. That's what I've been waiting for this for 15, 16 years to have
year-round Trek. We had a 3 week or a month break there in August. But no, Lower Decks. We're 3 episodes in, and it's great. Episode 2, and I'm going to ask you, William, do you have the VCR board game?
Do I have the what?
The VCR board game?
No, I do not.
Okay, but have you ever played that?
No, I haven't. I'm a loser.
Oh my goodness. Lower Decks redid it. Like they were playing that game. Not the one. Okay, so Robert O'Reilly does the voice, or he's Gowron in that one. But they got JG Hertzler to come back and do for Artog instead. But that VHS board game, classic. My neighbor had it when I was a kid, and yeah.
I vaguely remember it, but I never played it. There was a couple other things that had that type of where you could buy the game and do that. Man, that's old school.
Look, here, I have the picture. Let me pull it up here.
Well, that's right. You have access to the middle screen, so cool.
Yeah.
And then once we're done with the Trek excitement, now I'm going to get into this. Listen,
as you're witnessing like what was very close, borderline to the collapse of an entire company.
But see, here's the thing, though. I just don't. I no matter how bad this is, I don't think
it's bad. It's very bad.
But the world kept going on, though, and they delivered a decent, very good show on Wednesday with high viewership. See, and people keep trying to compare WCW to this. Tell me that you were not around for WCW without telling me you weren't around for WCW. There's no comparison to what WCW was going to and what AEW is going through right now. What WCW, what's bad in the WCW for the most part was mismanagement from corporate, because remember, their problem started, people like to deny this, but it's BS. Their problem started when Ted Turner was no longer in charge of that company. When it was an AOL Time Warner company, and they either did one of two things. They let Eric Bischoff just do it with whatever the hell he wanted to, or towards the end, they just cut everything and didn't want to do anything at all. And the fish rots from the top down, from the head on. And it was, they let wrestlers do, but I mean, kind of like they did now in AEW, but it was a little bit different because when things were going well with that's okay. Can you blow that up? Is that big as it goes?
I put it on the, here we go. Hang on a second. I saved it on the thingy.
Okay.
2 seconds. Yeah, this game.
Is that something we can play online?
No. No. If we had the board game, but no, it's kind of a choose your adventure game. Like early role playing. It was
Wait a minute.
like,
I do have this.
I was gonna say you gotta sell. You have to sell this somewhere.
I bought this up. I don't know where it is now, but I think I bought this up. Remember when I bought all that Star Trek stuff up?
I think when you were showing the room. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think I have that somewhere. Okay. Now I remember. I had to look at it and see it. Yeah, that's cool. I got all kinds of stuff, dude. I got PC games, CompuSoft, Star Trek games, stuff that you cannot use anymore. I have the disc with the technical manual on it. The floppy. Remember the floppy disk, the 3.5s?
I
have a 3.5.
Do you guys remember the computer program where you could build the ships? Like you got like in the computer you had all the ships and you could like transfer out parts on the ships and make your own. Yeah, Ships of the Yard. Yeah, that was an awesome game. No, what I was going to say about that VCR game is I had that at one point, and the Lower Deck show is really meta about it. They have their version of it that the Lower Decks crew is playing. It's called Batliths and Binocs, which is just hilarious. That whole scene is hilarious, isn't it, Brian?
Yes, sir. That's why I'm like, guys, don't sleep on Lower Decks. I'm gonna have to do like a watch party for Lower Decks just so people can get into it because it's a really great show.
Yeah, I know you think that it's not up your alley, William, but it's very adult. It's very meta. It understands exactly what it is, and it's a great show, dude.
I'm trying. Like I said, I'm giving it every opportunity, and it's hard for me to get through. But like I said, I don't hate it, and I'm never gonna. You notice I'll never disparage it because, like I said, it's out there for another Trek fan to watch. So I'm all for it. It just hasn't stuck with me right now. But that could change though, because there's a lot of stuff I've been watching lately, or I've watched the second, third time around, or given some more time, and maybe
The funniest part of the show, William, is that the main antagonists of the show, at least for the first 2 seasons, is the Pac-Leds. And
we need stuff, things that make us go.
Yeah,
they sound like a robotic version of the Ferengi.
Yeah.
I do when I do watch that show, I do like the ensign, the one, the admiral's daughter, the admiral and the captain's daughter. I think every time I watch it, she's the person that resonates with me. Yeah,
Mariner is the heart of the show, other than Boimler. I mean that whole the four
dynamic that's kind of like works off each other. And
did I
Tindy, Rutherford,
the Boimler's raisins?
Yeah.
My goodness!
You think it's great? You think it's for wine, and he's actually a raisin farm.
Yes. Oh my gosh! And for Comic-Con, they handed out the Boimler's raisins.
Oh, jeez.
And all of the women on the vineyard that were trying to sleep with him in the episode.
He kept denying him. He'd be like, "Oh, Bradward, you must check out the firmness of these grapes." He's like, "You could check that out yourself."
The cool thing about at Comic-Con, they went all out for Comic-Con Star Trek. Whereas some people want to put out a half-ass front presentation. I won't mention any.
A DC.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to mention the name, but I was Star Trek was completely 100% behind everything at every level. It wasn't just the movie, or not even the movies. There's no movies to speak of right now. Not just the the shows, live action shows. They went all in with Lower Decks. They went all in with just about everything, and that's what you do. I mean, and then they knew they had Star Trek Day coming up, and they still went all out with Comic-Con. As far as I'm concerned, mentioning the crossover between Lower Decks and Strange New Worlds, which I think that's just weird, but I think it's going to be cool.
I love to see how they would make it work. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, I think they'll make it work. The show.
I have a feeling that's going to be some sort of cross-time caper sort of weirdness, but it's going to be fun.
Yeah,
I'd like it better if it's a parallel. But I mean, like I said, I trust those showrunners to do some really cool stuff. So yeah, Star Trek, and then now let's these guys. All right, so I've heard several different altercations, and listen, I am indifferent to this kind of stuff because, like I said, I have been watching wrestling forever. I was watching wrestling before there was dirt sheets. I was watching wrestling before there was the internet. I was watching wrestling before there were anything like Dave Meltzer was still mailing things to you on a weekly basis, and you checked your mailbox. So these things that happen, be honest with you, there's not a wrestling promotion that has ever been in existence where these things didn't happen.
Right. I'm not disagreeing with that, but it speaks to a lack of management and lack of leadership, though. This blew up as much as it did with repeated 5 or 6 different stories that led up to this giant.
It doesn't because, like I said, every wrestling federation has had it gone through. So it's not, and they've all had the same level of management for the most part. And when
question, guys. I hate to interrupt you, William. Educate a guy that's ignorant on this stuff. Isn't AEW connected to the bigger league? The bigger
AEW, it's its own
separate thing.
Okay,
it's a separate company.
Yeah, so
it's basically their competition. It's like Marvel and DC.
And WWE, no one will ever convince me with all the decades that I've watched this stuff in that WWE has created a much worse environment. Here's the difference between WWE and AEW is that AEW exists. WWE, trust me, especially when you hear a lot of the stuff that's not, when you hear behind the Dark Side of the Ring or some of the stuff like that, anything that's not on AEW or A&E, that's not sponsored by WWE and bankrolled by them, you hear the things that went on. The only reason why you don't hear about it in the magnitude what you're hearing in AEW right now is because there is an AEW. If they had opened their mouths and done anything like this, you had a monopoly. They felt the same way. There were fights breaking out. It just didn't reach the surface simply because no one was going to cut their paycheck in half and by saying anything or by doing a shoot interview like that. The only people who could do that were Shawn Michaels, and even he had penalties.
But you remember what I told you about a week and a half ago? I said all this backstage stuff with Eddie Kingston and Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa and like all this stuff going on. I said over a week and a half ago, this is the worst timing for something like this to happen.
Is there? Is it?
Yeah. Yes.
Why?
Okay. Well, let me just finish real quick. So I said that over a week and a half ago because you have WWE, who is on an upward momentum because Vince is gone. They got new management, new creative juices. People are enjoying working there again. Things are on the up and up. Then you go to last weekend. Okay. This past weekend, where there was a huge WWE event in Cardiff, Wales, which surpassed expectations as one of the best shows they've done in a long time.
That's not saying much because I watched that show live.
I would disagree with that, but that's another conversation. Universally, it's been a beloved show that people really enjoyed, really liked. Everyone was super happy with it. They had two solid episodes of TV this week. Okay. Yep. Then you go to All Out, which I typically like All Out. But then you have All Out, which was like a 7-hour-long pay-per-view, okay, with a lot of matches that got booked haphazardly just to get all the talent on the card. Then you have matches that have really wacky booking decisions. And then you have a main event, right, which is fine. It's a great ending. The pay-per-view started strong and ended strong. That's what's important, okay? No denying that. But then you have a media scrum where your champion and the biggest name talent that you have that draws the normies in buries your entire promotion, buries your executive vice presidents, craps all over you as you're the CEO sitting there and taking it, looking absolutely uncomfortable and disgusted, just letting it happen. And as you're talking and doing a media scrum, you have like 6 or 7 different talent members getting in a fist fight for over 6 minutes, to where now police are investigating it, and now you have a wider investigation to figure out, okay, who do I have to fire or not?
Which no one.
That is a public embarrassment. I'm sorry, it is, and this is the worst timing for this to happen.
No, it's not, dude. Listen. First of all,
you cannot deny how bad the situation has gotten.
The way you're looking at it is not the way pro wrestling generates or works. All right, what you're bringing up are things that don't drive or kill pro wrestling. That's why their numbers are high as hell.
But clearly they've had.
If you got into pro wrestling as a promoter and you're worried about embarrassment and worrying about being shown up, you're not a wrestling promoter.
No. What I'm saying is it's a public embarrassment for this company.
There's no such thing.
This is like one of the worst things to ever happen to this company.
There is no such thing. When it comes to pro wrestling, you're either in or you're out. You accept everything that comes with it. And why? Because, like I said, it's you can go back to WWE, guys getting stabbed and guys getting threatened, guys banging each other's wives.
Okay, but this isn't the 90s anymore. This isn't like the Attitude Era. This is modern professional wrestling.
And the fan base doesn't care. They tuned in on Wednesday. They're going to tune in tonight. They're going to their buy rates will be fine for their.
But you realize that like there was a different vibe with the audience, right? Booing Tony Khan, booing Hangman Adam Page. They're paying attention.
They've been booing Hangman Adam Page since Ring of Honor. So
no, they have not been. No.
Yes, they have. Dude, I've been in the audience when they booed
I've been watching
Adam
AEW
Page.
since Double or Nothing every single week. They have never booed Hangman Adam Page like they did last.
Dude, they booed him the night he won the title.
No.
Adam Page has not been popular. I mean, he's been up there, but he's been booed before.
And they've never booed Tony Khan before either.
Oh, a wrestling promoter getting booed. Big deal. That's never happened before.
I'm pointing out, though, that there is significant differences that happened overnight. And again, I would like to remind everybody that we had an entire pay-per-view that was basically built upon a world champion match and a trios championship match. And those champions have been stripped, and we have no clue if they're ever going to come back or not. Okay, most likely not. In the case of CM Punk,
Kenny Omega will be back. The Bucks will be back. CM Punk's got torn pectoral. He needs to be done because he can't physically hold up anymore. That's a bigger problem with him than anything. And if I was Tony Khan and he was healthy, I'm putting him right back on TV because my job is to draw ratings. Sorry.
At the end of the Sounds day, like a work to me.
I'm sorry.
It
It's
sounds like a
actually
work to
no.
me
It's
too, but,
not.
you know.
Trust me.
I think
It is not
enough
a
of it is. Enough of it is to the point where
Stone Cold Steve Austin got arrested for beating up Vince McMahon.
No, we're not talking about that though. I understand, but like
dude.
this is very serious to where again you can look up the investigation that's going on. You can look everything up. It's not a work. Literally everybody in the industry has said repeatedly, stop saying it's a work. It's not a work. Even
that's
the people
usually your
involved are
first thing
saying
that
this
it might be a work.
That's the first. Sorry, my Spidey sense is tingling here, dude.
Okay.
And then CM Punk.
Listen,
Punk
here's the
came
funny
in,
thing
that
though.
was
Everybody thought that
premeditated, too.
Cody Rhodes was a work, that he wasn't going to leave. It was all a work
Yeah.
storyline, and then he left.
Saying it's not a work is like Andrew Garfield saying I'm not in Spider-Man.
Well, here's the
Okay.
thing. The bottom
I'm
line
just
is
saying.
this: it's not going to hurt them at all. It's not
I'm
going to
not
hurt them
saying
at all.
I'm just saying it's a bad black eye. It's a bad
No,
like,
because you're talking
Not
about
for
it.
this sport. Not for this sport. If it
That's
were
pro
any,
wrestling,
if we were
dude.
talking about the PGA or something else, we're talking about a sport that thrives on this.
Do you know where the term
this
mark
is not
comes
the
from?
kind of thing they need though.
No, I have a question though. Do you know where the term mark comes from?
Yes, I know the wrestling terms. I know that. I understand. But
Well,
I'm
this
talking
is
about
beyond. This is like, okay, you could apply it to a carnival barker or somebody that's trying to get you to play a rigged game. Unless, something actually happens, like that gets reported in the real news, it's more than likely a work.
And I'll go even further than that.
The term mark comes from confidence game. Okay, a con man. That's what you're being conned. Okay, that's what they're supposed to do. That is the entire job of a wrestling outfit, is to make you believe something that's not real,
or believe the exaggeration. Because you know what, just like in wrestling for the last 40 years, all these angles, sometimes there is a very real element of truth to it, but they use it and they exploit it because they know we're watching. People told me
Montreal Screwjob. Is it a work? Yeah. Shoot? Is it a work? Is it a shoot? Like, we don't know. I mean, if you talk to one, it's a work. If you talk to the other, it's a shoot. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. Like,
pretty much everyone that's been talked to has said, yes, this actually happened. I mean, you could literally watch go and watch the media scrum. All that was legit. That wasn't something that was made up off the fly. I mean, William, I assume you watched the media scrum.
I watched it live, and then I saw today that he knew what he was going to say when he came into that thing.
Yeah, because again, he was gone for a while, and he had a grudge back in May that he wanted to get off his chest.
But
because he was pissed off about what happened with Hangman Adam Page getting that promo.
Yeah, locker rooms, and like I said, the job of Tony Khan is right now is to exploit this and get people to watch, and he's doing that. There's a lot of people. More, you look at the numbers.
Well, let me ask you this then. Okay, so they suspended over 8 different people. Mm-hmm. They stripped 4 of their champions. And you're convinced that that's not serious or real?
Go sit home, and then you have a tournament for the new champions.
That's what I'm saying, dude. You're going to have
a tournament. No, what I'm asking is, so they did an entire pay-per-view and like over 2 months worth of television building up to those people winning, and they get stripped of their championships the next day, and you're telling me that was all planned?
Yes.
At least exploited to the point, because listen, when it comes to Tony Khan, and here's the one thing that I do not like about AEW is they use their pay-per-views to build up TV. That's another stream altogether, and that's what they did here anyway, one way or another. But as far as titles goes and stuff like that, when they're ready to put the title back on somebody again, they'll do it. I have no doubt in my mind that the Elite will be champions again in some sort. I have no doubt in my mind.
It will be. But my point being, though, is that I understand, like, listen, I think that the MJF thing, a lot of that was a work, okay? I acknowledge that. This is like real life shit, though, okay?
It's really, okay, let's give you the benefit of the doubt. Let's just, for argument's sake,
it's real life shit that they are now having to exploit for TV because they've been painted into a corner.
That's
been what's happening in wrestling since there's been pro wrestling.
Yes, I understand. But, okay, what I'm saying, though, is that they got put in a situation where CM Punk is gone and they've had to suspend some of their biggest stars because of this backstage brawl, which by all accounts, all police reports and investigations are saying actually did happen. Okay. So what they did was they basically had to do a creative reset this past week. A successful creative reset, but still a creative reset. And there's no way in hell that anyone can convince me that was actually planned. Again,
it doesn't have to be.
You just said a successful creative reset.
Yeah.
Like, God damn it, man.
Well, hold on. Even if it, like I said,
I'm so sorry, man. It's okay.
Just for argument's sake, when it comes to pro wrestling, the only thing that matters is the end result. How you get there, nobody remembers or cares. The WWE has built a foundation of nobody caring how they got to certain places, and there's been some pretty ugly roads that have been far serious. Like I said, they don't get a lot of attention because it happened when we weren't having our eyeballs pressed to the internet. But like
I said, I'm a fan. I am a fan. I'm just saying that I'm not going because I am a fan and I like what they do over there. I will say this: I think that it's a shame that all of the backstage issues overshadowed that pay-per-view because nobody talked about the pay-per-view once CM Punk opened his mouth.
Well, they never want you talking about the pay-per-view, dude. Tony Khan doesn't.
No, that's not how it worked before.
That's exactly how he does it, dude. He uses his pay-per-views to set up TV. He sacrifices pay-per-views. Some of those booking things he did literally to set up the next Dynamite, which I 100% disagree with because if you're paying for a pay-per-view, you should go all out, pun intended, on the pay-per-view. But there's been clear instances where he's used the pay-per-view to set up the ratings because that's where the money is for him. He makes more money and add buy rates and everything else.
And that's called building forward momentum. I understand that, but no.
He does it to an extent, and I'm like, dude.
What I'm talking about though is the conversation, like literally the night of the pay-per-view. Nobody was talking about MJF returning. Nobody was talking about the amazing tag team match. It was all about what the hell's going on with CM Punk.
That's fine.
Was it really a backstage fight?
That's not bad, dude. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but if I'm Tony Khan, the only way that's bad is if you don't know how to exploit it, and he knew how to exploit it. These things are going to happen. I can't even promise you that next Wednesday there's not going to be something happen. As the CEO and the showrunner, you better be prepared to exploit it or get out of professional wrestling, and that's any wrestling promoter. Any wrestling promoter that's ever reached this level.
I'm saying, I mean, listen, and if you talk to people on the inside, a lot of them were like, okay, shit just got real. We feel publicly embarrassed, and I think that on Wednesday they tried to rebound. I think they successfully rebounded. It's still a shitty situation all around, though.
But those guys that they'll say that stuff and they'll say that stuff to sources and all this stuff, but they're going to understand. They're going to look. Well, these guys are in business for themselves, as they should be. They're going to look at the landscape and be like, I got it good here. I'm staying here. And some people will whine about getting their releases and stuff like that. Some people are wanting their release, and I think they need to look at the wrestling landscape before they do that. Realize that what having another major federation means to you, being not treated like crap, and being able to make decent money.
And that's where we're in a very interesting spot, right? Where it's kind of the momentum shifted a little bit. Now Vince McMahon is gone. Now we are kind of this new Triple H era with WWE, and a lot of people are really optimistic and happy working over there right now, which is a good thing. That's how it should be. So now it's going to get a little more competitive again, where it's going to be like they're both going to be firing on all cylinders, I feel like, which is good. And I don't know.
I guess I just seen a lot of it to the point where I look at it as, okay, this is what you have, exploit it, make money out of it.
No, I think they exploited it, but I'm like, what I think is going to be interesting again is that this is a real life situation. My only question is CM Punk done? When are we going to see the Elite again? I don't know.
I bet you dollars to donuts, these guys are going to do run-ins.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, if they do a run-in within like a week from now, then yeah, I'll say it's a work. But I don't think they're doing a run-in like.
Well, CM Punk is out. CM Punk, regardless of this situation.
Yeah, Kenny Omega do a run-in. Okay, no problem.
I mean,
or footage of him sitting at home or something like. No,
or they're going to come in mass. They're going to come in, all three of them wearing luchador masks and attack.
Yes, they will wear masks or something, dude. I'm telling you, dude. Like,
I'm pissed because this means like I don't know if we're going to get more Being the Elite episodes on YouTube. Like, what the hell?
They did. They just release.
They did one for All Out, but are they going to do one next week?
I'm going to say yeah, because they're going to have that once time. When it comes to wrestling, it's the next thing. It's whatever is the next thing that you're jumping into. That's how they have to think, and that's how fans, their minds are moving beyond this to the point where now it's almost like the promoters have to catch up and do something sillier than what was done. It's like you have to outdo yourself. That's why when I look at this, I'm like, this is just par for the course. It's more sensationalized now because of the fact that, like I said, since 2001,
Yeah.
This stuff was going on.
I will say, though, one of the biggest shames of all of this that I do feel like CM Punk is probably done. It's a shame that his title reigns in AEW were as short and bad as they were, to where I'm looking at like who's been champion in the company over it's like 3 years. I'm like, sucks to say it, but he's probably their worst champion.
Well,
he's had 2 title reigns that lasted a total of 6 days.
Yeah, he got injured immediately after both. And trust me, if it weren't for the fact that he was injured, he would be back as soon as the Elite's back. What, 2-3 week extension? That's what it would be. All right. But because he's seriously injured and they don't want to do another interim, that's why he dropped the title before. And because they didn't want to do another interim situation. They don't really, interim situations are bad ideas when you're talking about professional wrestling, because it's not like UFC, where that kind of situation really has a precedent. So yeah, he, even without this fight, he was probably going to have to come out and make an announcement of a retirement announcement anyway, because he tore a pectoral muscle, and that's bad. He tore, if you look at that dive, and it's actually pretty bad. I think it's a 3rd degree, something like that. So unfortunately, it's a combination of things. But to be honest with you, it was time for MJF. I mean, I remember we were talking a couple weeks ago, RJ, about what we thought was going to happen during that match. I thought MJF was going to come in.
I really thought that they were going to have CM Punk turn heel, and they didn't do that. They were really setting up. They really wanted to do CM Punk versus MJF, and now it's probably not going to ever happen, which is a shame.
I want to see CM Punk, or not CM Punk. I actually want to see this matchup they currently have now. I actually think that the dynamic between
it's good. It's good, yeah. But I just I just wonder if it's going to hit the same way that a CM Punk versus MJF would have, because that was like the storyline that set up over a year ago.
Physically, I hate to say this about CM Punk. I just don't think he can go anymore. I just don't think he has the durability to wrestle the style of match that he has been known for wrestling. If you watch CM Punk back in the early day, and you look at what he's trying to do now, and it's not just because he's old, it's because I do think that time off, when your body doesn't build up that tolerance to the type of style that you made your career out of, injuries come. He's had more injuries in the last 7 months than I've ever seen him have in his entire
career. I know,
and
that is a shame. That is again, I like CM Punk, and I thought he brought a lot to the table. But if this is how it's going to end, I think it's a very sad end to all of this.
I think if I'm Tony Khan, I don't even think about firing him. Even if he can't wrestle, he can still run his mouth and stir shit.
Let me ask you though. If we hear that he gets fired, what does that say? If he's been let go, he's been released, and he gets fired.
It's
a big if. I know, but I'm saying if he does get released, 7 months from now,
if he does get released or if he's fired, I think it's going to be totally having to do with the fact that he can't work a match anymore. Because if he can work a match, Tony Khan's going to be putting him out there because he gets a reaction, and the investors and the people buying ad spaces, that's what they care about. If he can physically go, he will remain with the company. If it looks like what I'm hearing, that he can be out for 7 to 8 months, then you got to let him go.
He tore a bicep or
and as a wrestler, that's not good. And he's already
that's the same injury that Cody got a little bit ago.
Yeah. And so if you're talking about paying a guy top billing and he can't work, then that's why I think he would get fired. If he recovered quickly or something like that, or he wasn't ended up, I think he would. I don't think he.
Hey, listen, they should do? They should just go like all out, no pun intended, and just have do what they did with Cody Rhodes, or Cody Rhodes wrestle with the torn pec muscle, and just do that with CM Punk.
Yeah, and you know what? Take him off TV for a while and let him. Because to be honest with you, there are some guys on AEW's roster I really want to see shine. And MJF to me is a franchise player. I think they are. I love the way he came out there and thought, well, I'm a free agent in 2024. The only way he ends up in WWE if Triple H overpays for him, because I don't think Tony Khan's going to let that offer be matched as it gets going. And I think MJF is doing the right job by making his case, not just kayfabe on the state, but he's making the case in general.
Yeah,
he's making the case. I mean, if Tony Khan lets him go, or at least doesn't match any offer out there, that's foolishness. MJF is young. You lock him up. He's good. He's good. He has a charisma. He has everything you need, and he needs to stay a heel. I never want to see MJF stay a face. Let me get to the super chat real quick. Thank you.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna lose viewers for keep talking about wrestling. What the hell's all this?
Actually, we've climbed. Hey, RJ William, should they have teased Cavill in the recent Black Adam?
I know. We got to get to this. Everyone wants William's thoughts on Black Adam.
We're gonna watch this trailer, so let's go ahead and. I got permission from you to go ahead and watch this trailer. I didn't want to get him struck, but he says.
Did you not say what he thought about the trailer?
No, I haven't. We haven't gotten together about it. We haven't been to Point Extra Lounge in a while. We need to have one. Let's go ahead and yeah, I don't think this trailer was enough, but I'm going to let you guys watch it. I'm going to get with you on this one to see what you guys think. So, Windows, Chrome tab, Black Adam trailer, sure, and here we go.
By the way, final trailer as well.
Yeah.
My son sacrificed his life to save me. These powers are not a gift, but a curse. Born out of rage. So I'm about to know. This loose cannon needs to be locked down before innocent people start getting hurt.
He's been asleep for 5,000 years.
You find us a cell that can hold him, we'll take care of the rest.
Who's on the team?
Suicide
Hey,
Squad,
my
no
passport.
way.
We don't need passports. We're the Justice Society.
Black Adam, we're here to negotiate your peaceful surrender.
Heard about these 3 killings this afternoon.
I'm not peaceful. Nor do I surrender. Here we go. I kneel before no one.
You didn't come here to seek justice. You came to exact revenge.
I never said I was a hero.
You believe you are not worthy. But fate does not make mistakes. You have 2 paths. You can be the destroyer of this world. Or you can be its savior.
Okay.
Ooh.
So-
That was very X-Men-esque there, part of that trailer.
Everyone's saying it looks like a knockoff of a lot of their movies, pretty much, like with the shot of like the plane coming out of the mansion.
You have the Blackbird coming out from the under the yard there. You have the mansion in the background. Now, mind you, I am almost kind of looking forward to this movie because I love the Justice Society characters. But I still have this feeling that like The Rock is playing The Rock.
To me, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Here's my problem with this trailer. One, this is with any trailer. Black Adam, stop using music that's probably not going to be in the soundtrack. Every time they just think, well, let's go use hip hop music in the soundtrack. Use a musical score. You paid millions for that musical score. Use a musical score. I hate that. That drives me crazy, but that's just a personal pet peeve. Listen, as somebody who knows extensively about these characters and about Black Adam, about the Shazam world, about the Justice Society, I don't need a trailer like this to get me going. The problem I have is that I do not think that they have made a good enough case for people to be amped up about this movie. And
so you don't think this trailer did its job in terms of like raising the hype?
Not enough to where it being the final trailer and us being on September 9th and the movie coming out on 2021. I need to know.
In my opinion, they've totally mismanaged the marketing with this movie.
Well, yeah, I've been saying that for like the last 7 or 8 months. And then when you had the one thing you should, even a layman should be able to walk away from is a better premise than what this is. Okay, yeah, we've woken up Black Adam for 5,000 years, and the Justice League or Justice Society is trying to stop him and reel him in. That's not enough. There's a villain in this movie that really needs to be highlighted, and they haven't. They brought him in the trailer there, but that's not enough. I just didn't get. There's a lot of meat on the bone as far as premise goes, as far as the trailer. I just didn't feel it, and I am very familiar with each and every character that popped up on that screen, but I am the minority. My kind and my geekdom is going to make up for less than 3% of all people who will see this movie. I don't think at any point in time during this campaign that they have made the case for the normal folks, the non-geek, for this movie, other than The Rock. Now, this movie's going to make good money because of him, but I think that there's a good movie here. But I just hate the way.
I think there's I think there's an okay movie here, to be honest. I don't really think it's going to be.
As far as superhero movies goes, I mean, there's very few great. I mean, in my opinion, that are in that upper tier. Most of them are going to be at this level. I mean, the Guardians of the Galaxy type level. I mean, regardless of what type of money they make, because you could have $1 billion movie and it could still blow. So I mean, I think it's upper. It could be upper tier as far as DC goes, depending on what the story is. But once again, I haven't seen the script. I haven't seen the movie. But like I said, for somebody with a familiarity of the characters as I do, looking for a better premise understanding, what's the people who will never, ever pick up a comic book that are going to be coming in this movie, which is the overwhelming majority of people, you know? I just don't think that they push
there's The Rock, and he's playing a person.
This looks really mid. I mean...
Yeah, I'll be honest. It looks kind of mid. It does look like... I think it'll be popcorn fun, but I don't think this is going to be anything special, to be honest.
It's not a game changer.
That's what I'm saying. I think the issue is that it feels very generic to a lot of people.
There's been really good trailers for shitty movies, too. So even that notwithstanding, let's say, for argument's sake, it's a C-level movie. The marketing campaign, that can't be related to what the quality of the movie is. The marketing campaign is a pitch to get you to go see the movie.
Unless the movie's that bad, this is the best they got. Which that is a possibility.
Wow. Who knows? It was like I said, I don't hold the previous regime under any circumstances, but there's enough there. I just think that they
well, at least there's like they're having some interconnectivity though. I mean, Amanda Waller being in this is interesting just for what that.
That's important, and I think that means something else down the line. But like I said, I think the general audience, she's been in movies. Amanda Waller's been in movies that bombed, unfortunately, and I like the movies that she's been in as far as DC goes. But
I just don't think, I'll be honest, like I don't think this movie is going to be a complete disaster. But nothing about the marketing thus far has been screaming. Nothing has screamed. We need to see this movie opening weekend. Like there's nothing about this movie that inspires confidence. Like, oh my god, this is going to be
it is within them to do that, though. It is within the same crew to do that because they did it for like movies. Like I said, I was showing you guys the promo stuff. That they sent out for Shazam. You know, I got Marathon. I mean, what's that movie with Will Smith in it? I mean, I still got.
It's like I can't give it away.
I still got Equalizer, but I mean, I got they can do this if they want to. It's. I just don't think that they ever got behind this movie like they should. For it could be the most C movie in the world, but once again, look at Marvel. Some of the Marvel movies. You know, you get behind your product or you don't. And if you get behind your product, you're going to make your money. Now, the judgment after the movie is one thing, and you might have a drop off as far as, okay, I saw this movie and it sucked. But that's what the marketing's over at that point. You know, that's just the movie doing what the movie has to do for itself. But yeah, I really think, and I think a lot of it is because you're in transition. Because, you know, the previous guys marketed stupid stuff.
It doesn't seem like the Warner Brothers Discovery is really, to me, you know what this probably signifies to me potentially? Warner Brothers Discovery does not want to spend any money marketing this film. I think that because it's not their movie.
Well, and I can understand that because they're putting their liability on something that they basically had nothing to do. I know they're doing
right, but because it's like one of two movies they're releasing right now. It's odd to me that because the other movie is dealing with a lot of problems as well at the moment. Don't Worry, Darling. That whole controversy. It is odd to me that they would not at least consider, we probably need to market this, not because like we stand by this movie like 100%, but but because we need to make some money and some cash flow in.
Well, they're not going
You know?
to. The money that they make from this is not going to affect their financial situation.
But I'm just saying, it wouldn't hurt. I mean, wouldn't you want a good DC movie out there?
You do, but here's the problem. By the time that they came in, the marketing plan was already set. These aren't things that get set up in the last 30 to 90 days. By the time while David Zaslav was still sitting in the bullpen waiting to take over the company, the marketing plan for this is already done. That's it. And it doesn't, and you have contracts and things that are lined up with people months, 6 months out that are lined up. So if you're going to do a commercial deal, you're going to sponsorship deal, all your trailer companies, that's all set. You can make some changes to it, but there are very little changes because the balls have already been pushed into motion, and the work is already done. We're just seeing it now, but the work was done before Zaslav even took over. That's what I think is. I personally wouldn't have minded if they came in and said, "Fuck it, I know this is going to piss off every DC EU fan, but we're pushing everything. We're already lost our money. I'm already doing our P&L is what it is." But I would have loved for this movie to have Zaslav or the new regime's marketing plan behind it. At least they could say we swung our bat at our balls. Instead, they inherited a campaign that's almost or was 4 months into already being set in stone, and it's unfortunate because regardless of what you might think of how great this movie might be, Scorsese or might be Pooh Blood and Honey level, but that's the quality of the movie will be up to the viewer to come out and storm out of the theater and say that was a pile of crap. That's a separate issue on its own. But the ramp up in the anticipation of it, they just really got caught in a bad spot with this one, and it's unfortunate because, like I said, could be a good movie, and people might not give it a chance because, like I said, first of all, it's Black Adam. There's your number one decision right there that kind of hurts you is you're making a Black Adam movie that is in the forefront without any of the major superheroes. Do you think
it was like a Justice Society movie, like it says Justice Society versus Black Adam, that maybe would have done better?
It would probably lose about 2 or 3 million more because nobody knows who the Justice Society is, and they haven't done anything to prime you for them. You could have done a Justice Society movie if you would have spent the last few years letting people know. So if you knew you were going to release a movie with Black Adam and the Justice Society, and whenever you made this decision and you knew it was go time, you knew this movie was going to be released in October, every moment from that point on, the last 3 to 4 years should have been priming you and getting you used to these characters or getting you educated on at least the last year or so. Who's Hawkman? Who's Dr. Fate? These are things.
I mean, honestly, the Justice Society looks like the best part of this movie. And I don't think they're going to be in it very much.
Yeah, and there's unknowns.
My point exactly. The best part of this movie is going to be the Justice Society.
It's everything but Black Adam. Like, he looks the least interesting.
Dude,
and the he literally that buy tickets that know about the Justice Society are going to clap with me.
He literally is saying things he would say in every other Rock movie.
He's saying some of them in Egyptian, though. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, really. That's really the only difference. He threw some Egyptian on it.
I mean, there was some cool action. I mean, I like the part where he nuked those guys with his electricity. I mean, that was kind of cool.
You know what the best part of this movie is for me? I play a mobile game called DC Legends. And 2 of the Justice Society members, Cyclone and Atom Smasher, are 2 characters that I constantly use on my teams. Okay? That's about the best thing about this movie for me. That and actually getting to see Dr. Fate in live action. Other than a helmet in the show Smallville. Okay?
You know what should have been happening? So I got this. So the stuff I do have out, so like Peacemaker and Suicide Squad and all these things like that, I know I got Black Adam coming. I got to use those movies in that show somehow, some way, or I got to use HBO Max to give me some 5 minute shorts. Kind of like, remember how they did for Blade Runner 2049? Mm-hmm. A movie that they did market right, but because of it was such a 35-year gap, and a lot of people weren't familiar with the IP, but they use a strategy where they built you up towards that moment. So that's what they should be doing. And not like a whole movie or something. Give me 5-10 minutes of Dr. Fate. Give me 5-10 minutes of Cyclone. Give me 5-10 minutes and attach them to these other things that you have. Like when I was clicking for House of the Dragon, even the previous regime knew how to market that show because most of that was their marketing. And they had all kinds of stuff you could click on. Get your people knowing who these characters are. So when you're not wasting a top level performance by a top level performer like Pierce Brosnan, and you get people. Oh, that's that's Dr. Fate. I mean, they're not going to be a geek like me when it comes to Dr. Fate, but they have some type of anticipation and familiarity, and there's an attachment to these.
Also, another problem that I'm seeing here with this movie, especially if they're going to try to rely on the China market, Sabak is a whole demon, man, and China doesn't like demons in movies.
There's no hiding his demonic. He's a demon.
China, frankly, does not like demons in movies, and I don't see how they're going to allow this. I mean, they say it's going to come out in China, but you know what I'm saying?
Supposedly it got confirmed it is getting a Chinese release date. So
hey, they're going to edit them out, dude. They're going to blur out.
I don't mean to interrupt.
It's just going to be a giant black bar on
the screen. Go ahead, Brian. Am I missing a super chat?
Yeah, quite a few actually.
Hold on. Let me get this one real quick, and then I'll go.
Thank you, Brian. I was about to say something.
Man. Yes, I do. I think that could save this movie regardless of the backward deck, the campaign. That could actually be part of the campaign if they can kind of leak that out there strategically. Okay, let me get down. I got to get better at this. How far down, Brian?
If you click on starred, they're on the right hand, on the top column where it says live and then.
Hey.
Yeah, you can start the super chats and save them for later.
I was tagging them when they came in.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Okay, Larry. Oh, we did this before. We got your name right.
Kortowitz.
Kortowitz. Correct me if I'm wrong, Larry. Sorry about that. Give me Cavill. Give me Batfleck. I have some faith in The Rock helping Cavill out at least. Thank you, Zaz. Hey, you know what? They do not seem to be striking that much down. They seem to be going forward, which I think is a smart thing. I'm going to take a wait and see attitude with it. I think, like I said, this movie could be saved and get more eyes on it and not drop 80% the second week if there's a full on Cavill, not a neck down shot, but a full on thing. Not only do I think that would help that movie, I think that would get people talking in the right way about a lot of different things because the potential is there. Amanda Waller being in it to me is like, okay, you don't put her in there unless you're going a certain direction. And I don't think this is going into the Suicide Squad or Peacemaker direction. So, but that's just me.
It should, though. It should. That'd be funny.
You know what, though? But like I said, I think they should have been using Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad and HBO Max to promote Black Adam. Why not?
How can you not pass up The Rock and Cena? Peacemaker versus Black Adam. Let's go. Come on now.
That'd be hilarious. Okay.
Sells tickets.
Thank you.
It's like wrestling.
God, yes. Especially in marketing.
Yeah.
Have Cena and The Rock pull out some of their old Attitude Era BS as Peacemaker and Black Adam. That would be amazing.
All right. # restore or crumble under Darkside Boot. Hey, listen, you're talking to the choir, Larry, when I'm talking about that. I don't need the Snyderverse. Well, I know that triggered, but I don't need that 30 movies. All I need is the ending to that story arc, and I think that will create a credible platform going forward. I just don't, especially if you're going to use a lot of the same people. I don't think it's the characters and the actors as much. I think they're part of it. I think the biggest part of it is that when you don't end the story, people don't believe in the next one you're going to tell them. So, yeah, they need to fix that, and they've given me no good reason not to. If you're even thinking remotely about giving me Wonder fucking Twins, then you can put your mind towards something a little bit better than that. Right? I don't need Gleek the monkey. I need the
Well, what if Gleek the monkey would have made $1 billion? You don't know. I could have been like, it could have been.
I mean,
Avengers
I think
Endgame
it's
as
a
the greatest movie ever.
safe assumption that movie's not going to make $1 billion.
You know what? The fact that would ever even be a 1% possibility in this crazy world we live in is
I mean, if they had like a 999 million.
So I'm saying, like, what if
Gleek
the monkey could have been more popular than Baby Grogu, Baby Yoda? You never know.
Well,
you never know. Weirder shit has happened, guys. Weirder shit has happened.
Hey, I'm getting poo, blood, and honey. So yeah, maybe. All right, Fourth 1000. Thank you for your support. BA Black Adam has visuals, but none were visually stunning. I like the visuals, but and I hate to say this, maybe because I've seen too many comic book movies, I just saw a lot of stuff that I'm seeing. Maybe it's just because it's a trailer and all your action is.
No, I think a lot of the trailer is very cliched and tropey.
Yeah, which is all. And then when you go see the movie and you see all 2 hours of it, that washes away. But yeah, it looks like a lot of it's like they looked at the hit points and said, "This is what gets them going. This is what gets them going."
Yeah, we have a lot of recycled visuals here.
Yeah.
Like, so I can literally go through this trailer and pick out stuff I saw in B versus S. I can see things that I can pick out things that I saw in Justice League.
Iron Man.
Hell, I can pick out things that I saw in Marvel movies.
Which is, but in all defense,
And the sad thing is those movies did it better.
Yeah. I just think that this movie was the marketing campaign for this movie should be spectacular, and it's not. I hope that the stuff that we get to do with Warner Brothers later. I cannot believe what I'm saying. This we're in September, deep in September already, and we haven't gotten our promo stuff go. And like I said, I'm gonna, if they don't do it, I'm going to do it on our own. I'm gonna rent out a theater, and we're gonna print out like the shirts I wear, but black with the bolt on. So the crowd, everybody who comes to the movie, will have a Black Adam shirt on with the glow in the dark lightning bolt. And then I'll be wearing my normal one because they'll need to be able to find me. And we'll do something. I'm hoping that they get behind us on this, but it's getting late. And, usually we have our pre-screen dates on this. Usually we know how many seats we're going to get, stuff like that. And I haven't heard anything yet. So if they don't do it, I'm going to do it because I'm personally excited about this movie.
We talked about, them canceling fandom and everything. And I said that months ago. We hadn't heard anything, and this is what's concerning me about this movie and why I say the marketing's off kilter for it. We haven't seen anything like you said. We haven't seen any hyping. We haven't seen anything but these a couple of trailers and The Rock saying some stuff in SDCC. That's it. And you would think by now, with this movie coming out, 2 months?
Actually, 1 month. 1 month.
1 month. 21st.
1 month.
Actually, just over a month. 21st. So we're on.
You would think we would
5 weeks.
Yeah, you would think we would already be hearing about screeners and stuff.
Thus far, no, they haven't even mentioned that.
Trust me, I'll get an email, and I'll once I get that email, we'll start doing.
Unless they're waiting till like close to the end. No, maybe they're waiting until next week because this week is just such a big week for Disney. Well, all the media is covering Disney and D23, so maybe it's just a bad week to talk about screeners.
Well, what you do is you usually have screeners. You'll have two press screeners, one the Tuesday or the Wednesday prior to release week, and then the 1 or 2 the release week. But generally, you might know for sure that those are even happening. At least one of those are happening. You might not know where, like what theater and all that, but you'll get a be on the lookout type of thing. And the reason they do that is because we want to let our people know, especially people who are orchestrating them, know that to rearrange your schedule and stuff like that. Because not a lot of people have Tuesday off. A lot of people that work in this area have Monday, Friday, 9 to 5ers, and they have to make time. So when we're doing promotions and stuff, they can actually go. And I'm not giving seats away to them. And then sometimes they do half and half. Like for Justice League, we did a screening and we did Fandango. For Blade Runner, we did no screening. We just did Fandango tickets and we just handed them out. And that helped me because I was able to give them to people across the nation instead of just locally where you had to come down. But we're usually ready for that. You see what I mean? We're usually hell for Shazam. I had these shirts ready for Shazam 3-4 weeks ahead of Shazam being released. So I don't know. But once again, we weren't in the middle of a merger. We weren't in the middle of a lot of things that were already set in stone. Unfortunately, a lot of what's happening with Black Adam is set in stone. I mean, they're changing what they can, reshoots them, but the reshoots that they're doing with Black Adam and stuff that they did before is probably going to affect things that are going to be released later on, and not necessarily Black Adam itself. You probably, other than if they did add Cavill in, which I think would be great. I think right now that would be a great kickstart for them. That would put them on a footing because I just don't think that they have the 5 to 6 years.
I will say, just real quick, because tomorrow is the Marvel presentation at D23. If this happens, and I don't think that it will, but God forbid Henry Cavill walks up on that stage and you have such a lackluster Black Adam trailer, the internet's going to be a mess. Not because I think that it means anything, really. I'm just saying, the conversation will turn very negative very quickly, especially against Black Adam, especially if Henry Cavill is up on stage tomorrow morning.
You know what'll change that, though? You know what'll change that? Him being in Black Adam.
But you're not going to know about that for over a month, so you're going to let that emotion linger.
Trust me. If he's in this movie, what's today? The 9th? Today's the 9th, right?
Yep.
All right, so if Henry Cavill's in that movie,
we'll know before it comes out.
You're going to know roughly around October 7th.
That's literally a month.
Yeah, but with that's like steroids.
I'm saying you're letting those emotion, that conversation linger for over a month.
By the way,
I've been
RJ, I
doing it for
I
a
have a question.
year.
Yeah, like I said, how long we've been hanging on the road
Shit.
forever. It's like
By the
more
way,
suffering,
RJ,
you know, it's like
I-
adding more suffering to my suffering. I mean, it's not, I'm already suffering. So,
I missed out on it yesterday. Did anything good come out of Disney Plus Day?
Was it yesterday?
No, it was just mostly about the content that released that day, to be honest. There wasn't anything too earth-shattering. I mean, there was some cool stuff that got... I mean, they released an Andor preview, which looked really good, but no.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw the Andor.
They saved all the news and the trailers for D23, so...
All right, well, I was just curious because I hadn't seen anything, so... And I knew you would know.
Yeah, I kind of wasted my time covering things today, but it's okay. Tomorrow will be worth it.
I was preoccupied with something going on out in the wider world yesterday because of losses in the world. But considering I grew up over there, so. But anyway,
whenever a world leader goes, like I mean, we lost two of them. Not more importantly, but more significant to me in the era I grew up with. Basically being born literally a couple hundred feet from the Berlin Wall. Mikhail Gorbachev, when he passed away.
Yes, I noted that. I noted that myself that day too. That was the end of an era there.
Regardless of how you feel about these people individually, these people are part of history no matter what. It's like at the era that they represent.
Well,
I have known no other sovereign in the United Kingdom, but my dad was 3 when she became queen. So
I mean, really put it into perspective with her 7 decades on the throne.
Yeah,
the last monarch who did that, who exceeded her, was 500 years ago with Louis XIV, the Sun King in France.
Yeah,
he ruled for 72 years.
Yeah,
I mean, I know this isn't a history show, but just really conceptualize 70 years in the hot seat. You know what I'm saying?
Well, as far as entertainment goes, a lot of our entertainment, if you look at it, a lot of these people are based in Britain. I mean, I'm a Thrones fan through and through, and everywhere on the Game of Thrones website. So she wasn't just somebody else's world leader; she was a cultural icon. I mean, they kept showing that picture of her standing next to the Iron Throne. So it does affect pop culture as far as that goes. But yeah, and even Campia, being a Canadian, he found out, right before the show yesterday.
I grew up a great deal of my formative years in the UK. From the age of 6 to my teens, I lived there. So I mean, this did affect me, and I get it why it doesn't affect a whole lot of Americans really, but me, it got me. And being a historical event and everything, it just I was in another sphere yesterday. That's why I missed out on the Marvel stuff.
Yeah, but once you reach your 90s, though, if you're lucky enough to reach the 90s.
So what was it, 96?
96 years old.
96.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a very.
But keep in mind, her mother lived to 102. Her husband just died at 100. So I mean,
99.
we're talking about in 99. We're talking about long-lived humanoids. Plus, conceptualize this: we lost 2 Betsy's this year. We lost Betty White and we lost the Queen. This is not cool.
Super chat from Larry. To me, Restoration being the same cast for JL, building up solo films until Zach is free to direct RT Invasion like an in-game style event. The old ways could take 2 years to get to that. Here's the thing about that. I want resolution, but at the same time, I don't want to bring in, I want to bring in, if I bring in a new DC studio head, his first mandate, because I'm expecting to have this guy for 10, 15, 20 years. His first mandate is going to be to resolve this. And I don't have a problem with him resolving it with or without Zack Snyder. I would want it to be with Zack Snyder. But at the same time, we do have to understand that because of the prior mistakes of the previous regimes, that there's so much time has passed, you have to close the gaps and remake these characters relevant again. We haven't had Superman on the screen in 5 years. So
my problem with this, William, is
let me because I'll forget if I don't go.
Go ahead.
If what I would do business wise is I would continue simply because. Not only because I'm a fan of the work, but because if I'm Warner Brothers, I have a lot of money invested on things that I'm still making money off. There's not a weekend that goes by where I can't find Justice League, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, or BVS on some type of platform or another on one of their channels, or that they've pirated out to another channel. All of that's ad revenue. every time you see those things, whether you like those movies or not, every time you see them on TNT, on any of that time, somebody bought ad revenue for every one of those commercials. I know because I purchased ad revenue and I know how expensive it is. So you have things out there that are relevant right now. So the worst thing you could do is not to continue, because in a way you're making that content irrelevant while the actors and actresses and filmmakers that did it are still relevantly making movies and still in that universe. You're literally working within that universe. So you can make money off of that. You have these things on physical media. You have a subscription service that you're trying to get every Tom, Dick, and Harry to sign up to, and you have these movies on there. So you would polarize those elements by keeping the storyline relevant and not starting over. You start over again. Where's your starting point? I would rather bring in a new fan and introduce them to all this past content and give them a way forward to resolution than start over again and hope that in 5, 6, 7 years this takes foot. You're having to spend a lot of money to get it to that level. You spent a lot of money to get Gal Gadot where she is as far as Roman's money. You spent millions getting Ben Affleck near Batman. You spent millions on getting Superman where he is at, and a lot of time that you spent in patience and waiting for that. So you're going to do that all over again? It doesn't make any sense for me. So I would resolve it and move on in whatever way that they want to, but I would resolve it. I don't think you can go forward without some type of resolution, even if it's not the grand design that was the original one. A resolution is better than some half-baked bullshit that you never finish. It's a big ask to tell somebody to trust you with new money when you fuck them with the old money. So that's for business reasons. And that would be anything. Even if it was Brian, Master of None, had worked on something for the past 9 years, and I needed to resolve that. It could be RJ. It would be anything that you started. You need to finish if you expect anybody to have faith in what you're going to do next.
Okay, so my concern with this, William, is, yeah, I get what Larry's saying here, and Larry, it's a great idea. But everybody knows, and we can speak from experience being on the panel, with the exception of maybe Brian. But as comic book fans, we are comic book movie fans especially, we are very mercurial. And also the viewing public is very mercurial, okay? So taking...
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, you don't have to explain that word, man.
Dear Lord. Okay. We're flighty. We're in a lot of ways, give us something, and if you take too long to give it to us, we're not interested. Okay? That's what mercurial means.
So we're fickle.
Fickle. There you go. Fickle. Sure. Okay. But look, my concern is if you take 10 years to try to pull off an in-game style event, you're going to lose the plot. Most comic book movie fans are not going to wait for that, especially not with the way DC has been mismanaged under the old regime.
That's true. I think a lot of fans lack patience.
I speak from experience when I say I like William. I'm an old comic book fan from way back in the 70s. Okay, and I've lost interest in DC completely. Some of these things are interesting to me, but you know what? I'll wait till they get to streaming. I'm not going to the theater to watch these movies. Okay, and that's what's sad. I should want to, regardless of the company, DC, Marvel, independent, whatever, I should be ready to hit that theater. I should be chomping at the bit, and I'm just not with DC. Okay? And that's where a lot of comic book movie fans are going to be with this if it takes this long. Also, you're not going to keep the interest of Joe Blow movie public taking forever to get to a point. I mean, I know several people that are civilians when it comes to comic book movies that would go and watch it because it's flashy or the actor in it or whatever. But even they're telling me, can you explain this DC stuff to me? It's been totally mismanaged,
Now, that being said, let's say, for argument's sake, let's say Cavill's in Black Adam in any capacity. Then this comes into play because even the person who has come along in the interim since we've seen the last Superman movie that really likes Black Adam and knows that Cavill's Superman, you have now polarized interest in the things that you've already made money off of. You've polarized their relevance, and now if they do this soon, they can really get a lot of people interested in the 9 years of content that they have, and they can plot a way forward to resolve it. Like I said, I don't need 25 movies. All
No, I don't.
Once you get the crowd involved, once you get people watching BVS, and now we're outside of 2016, where you had Marvel Marks versus DC Marks, and they just thought they were getting a paycheck from either company, and nobody was getting paid but the actors. But now we're out of that atmosphere where we don't have that childish mentality that was going on then, and people are be able to see these movies in a different context, in a different light. I think now, if you got people interested in it, you could backwards market and get this going. But you got to do it in the next 6 months. You cannot wait forever.
But I kind of agree with RJ. If we see tomorrow at D23 at the Marvel panel, if we see Cavill jump ship,
there's no jumping ship. That's not the way it works.
That's not what I mean. That's not what I mean, William. But if we see him commit to Marvel, that's going to hurt.
What are you meaning? Because there's nobody. He could come out tomorrow dressed as Reed Richards with stretchy arms, and come out next Thursday dressed as Superman.
That's great. I've always agreed with you on that. I've always said he could do multiple things. That's always been my thing. Okay. I know Henry can play The Witcher and Highlander and Superman and Hyperion, for example. But I'm just saying, when it comes to the mind of comic book movie fans, and they've said it a couple of times in the chat, if we see Cavill at D23, people with narrow focus are going to be upset.
And a lot of people are
until they see him as Superman.
Right,
look,
that's a hopeful thing, though. It's not guaranteed.
Look, I agree with you, William.
Yeah, it's
William. I've always said the Trinity is where we need to be with DC. We need to reestablish the Trinity. We need to get that going again. You know that. I know that. But you have to acknowledge what I'm saying, though. Simply put, if we see him split his time between Marvel and DC, a lot of your casual fans are going to get really confused. There's a reason why we don't get a whole lot of crossover.
No, I know the mind of this market needs these type of fans, and I don't think they're going to go to one. They're going to go to one movie or both. I don't think if he comes out as Superman, he's going to do blockbuster as Superman. That's not going to be a problem. If he comes out as Reed Richards, I'm just throwing Reed Richards. I don't know who the hell he's going to be. Whoever he is, I don't think our minds are so Cro-Magnon level to where we couldn't figure that out, and to where that would hurt momentum of either one. It all depends on what, because Superman is Superman. If he comes out as Superman, it's not going to matter what else he's doing, because he's not. I mean, the Marvel has their upper pantheon of people, but Superman is Superman. That's just Superman. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but Cavill says.
Hold on, real quick.
Hold on. Fourth 1000 here says. If Cavill plays Hyperion, he will be playing the real Superman and Dollar Store Superman all at the same time. And I agree with that.
That was a great point that I wanted to bring up. I'm glad you did, Fade. That was what I was going to bring up. If he's playing Hyperion, he's played Marvel's version of Superman and Superman. Does anyone else not see a potential issue with that?
No. If one of those is Kal-El, no. All right.
No. You see what the issue could be, though. It's like you're playing the competitor's version of Superman and the Superman. It's like
I don't talk to moviegoers who think that way. It's a role. It's a role for them. They know that these guys take roles. All right, they see people playing in both companies, but like I said, the huge advantage for one company is that he's playing the very first superhero ever created. It doesn't matter who else he plays after that.
But also keep in mind, I'm playing devil's advocate here. I personally agree with you, William. I think that if he plays Hyperion or Sentry, and he also plays Superman, I'm not going to care much. I'm getting Cavill.
I'm cool with that.
I'm getting Cavill both ways, and I love Sentry and Hyperion. Don't get me wrong, but it does have a little bit of concern, at least in my opinion. I mean, I'm not sky is falling or anything, but
I respect you guys. I just don't see it. I see most people see these guys. You know, especially the demographic that they're being marketed to, they see the people playing a role, and when they see them again, they will see them playing another role. It's all who makes the better movie out of those two, and he may play two characters in two spectacular movies, but I don't think one is going to have anything to do with the other, and one's not going to affect the perception of the other, especially when one of those is Superman.
Look. Ultimately, I want Henry back as Superman. Okay. As for whether Zach comes back or not, I think right now he's happy with Netflix and what he's doing there.
He'd be back in a heartbeat. I think that being happy at Netflix. Listen, I'm happy here at the Sci Fi Center, but if you offer me some more money to go run another place and I can still do both things, I'm going to take that money and I'm going to take more happiness. There's no such thing as too much happiness. And
I know that. William, again, I know that, but also think about it. We said this. Me and Brian said this last night. Who really wants to deal with the clusterfuck that is DC right now? I don't.
People who understand more. Listen, we can't use fan logic to approach a business logic.
Well, actually, real quick, William, did you see what Puck News reported a little bit ago? Puck News, some of the former writers of Hollywood Reporter, like Matthew Bologna, they're saying that basically internally, one of the biggest issues they're having is that Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdi, who are running the studio right now, they would actually like to keep Hamada in his position, but David Zaslav does not want to do that. But
Hamada's gone. So
well, I agree, but at the same token, they're seemingly having an issue finding somebody to replace him. Yeah. So I don't know why it's so hard to find a DC head. It seems like nobody really wants the job.
Because nobody seems to want the job.
You started too late. You can't see, and this is the problem. People want that job. The problem is
if people wanted the job, why haven't they?
Then why didn't Dan Lin take it?
Because you have to get somebody wanting the job and them fitting your parameters are two different things. Dan
Lin was their guy, but
Dan Lin wasn't going to divest himself from his cash cow without proper compensation. And if you pay him the kind of compensation he probably wanted, you set a precedent not only for him, but there's other people that you have to still hire. You still have to replace Ann Sarnoff. You still have to replace
They already have replaced Ann Sarnoff. It's Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi. They already replaced those people.
But I think you're actually going to have a tier under them. That's going to be. I think they're going to be up higher than that. But even still, what about Emmerich?
Zaslav has said the structure is DeLuca and Abdi, and then the DC head. That's the structure now. So they've already replaced Sarnoff.
Okay, so let's say that's true. I don't think that's going to be the finished product. But let's just go say that's true. You're going to have to renegotiate eventually anyway. So are you going to? How much is too much to compensate Dan Lin? We don't know the numbers, but I know they wanted him to separate from his production company, and he didn't want to. So you have to. The person being interviewed has to fit the parameters of the interviewer too. It's a two-way street, and this process should have started a long time ago. This should not have been something that had started. I mean, I thought this was a mistake for this not to be one of the things that was announced as soon as the ink was dry and he moved his stuff into the office. This should have been you're taking over the company. You should have had this. I mean, in 9 months you can find anybody. Hell, they found Hamada in less time than that. I mean, so you can make the wrong decision and put the wrong people in place real quick. But it does take time to get the right, because they have to fit your parameters. Remember, you're going to let these guys loose for the most part. After you give them parameters, you need to know that you're not going to have to come back into conflict with guys. So it's going to be a process, but it taking as long as it has is not a surprise. It's starting when it did is where I'm disappointed. It's going to take the time it takes. It should have started a lot sooner than this, though.
Right, and by that time, maybe it's.
And that's what I'm saying. It should have started a long time before now.
A lot of fans are going to be very fickle, and I don't think anyone's going to have patience to have to see DC have to reset itself over the course of another 5 years.
Reboot is basically the same.
No, I'm not even saying reboot. Just get going again.
It all depends on what. Like you said, a lot of it's going to depend on what happens. Some of it, and it shouldn't be this way because Black Adam should not be your MVP. Black Adam's a bit part movie that should be part of a mosaic, but it's not. And now it's shouldering a lot more burden in a movie with a C-level character. I don't care who's playing him, should have to bear. But if we are where we are because of previous mismanagement. But it all depends on what happens, how that movie is perceived and what they announced too. And this is where I disagree with them not having a DC fandom, is because you may not be releasing shit every other month or every 4 months. We understand it's a merger, but we need to start seeing some a skeleton of what's coming up sooner than later. Because we might have some time for another movie to come out after this. That doesn't mean the marketing should be beginning now on all these things. Where are we going with the reshoots? Give me some direction. I mean, that's why I disagree with not having a DC fandom, because we're not just talking about the two.
But
movies.
Again, if they have nothing to market, then what do you?
You have a lot to explain.
But they don't want to market them right now, though. That's
no. I'm not marketing that. Fuck marketing right now. Marketing is part of it. Marketing
DC
correctly,
fandom
but
is all marketing. That's what the whole thing is.
not
It's a giant marketing show
usually.
for movies and
Yes,
comics.
usually yes, but no, not this time around. You got a lot of explaining to do because there's a lot of confusion.
Well, they don't want
Right.
to spend the money. That was the big thing. They don't want to spend the money on it.
Yeah, we don't.
That's
need,
David
it doesn't have to be
Zaslav right there
expensive.
telling you, I don't want to spend money on this giant digital event. It's too much.
You know what? That's a mistake.
Yeah, it is.
Because right now
It
you're
is.
letting
I
knuckleheads
agree,
like
but-
us. You're letting
I agree,
knuckleheads
but-
like us try to guess at what corporate people do that we're not qualified to guess at. I'm sorry. I don't care what kind of aptitude I have and what kind of knowledge I have as far as what I can do here. YouTubers don't have the capability to guess with a multi-billionaire and CEO who's in charge of more money than we'll ever see and more assets than we'll ever be able to wrap our imagination around. We're just not qualified to do that. And that's why a lot of us look stupid when we do. So, yeah, you need to have something to start putting the breadcrumbs together. And or if it's not a fandom, like I said, I've always said from the beginning, you need to be using YouTube. You need to be using your own apparatus. You have a multimedia company at your disposal. You know, at the very least, you need to start filtering out the bullshit. Otherwise, you're letting people create an entire industry on bullshit, on rumors and scoops, most of which end up either being half true or less than half true and cause more problems than anything. So by them not getting out in the front of shit, we're having people who are nobodies become celebrities for spreading shit. So they had nothing to lose by putting something out there and at least taking control of their narrative. I'm ready to hear about it from them. We've heard about this shit from everybody that means nothing, that will not spend $1 investing anything, that will not be paying anybody, that will not be creating anything. We've heard from all these people. I'm ready to hear from them. And I don't care. Give me 15, 20 minutes. That's the 15, 20 minutes coming from the horse's mouth is better than the hours and hours and hours of content that I get from the horse's ass. So I'm ready to hear from them, one way or another. And if it's a hard
it's
truth,
going to be a while before you hear anything from them.
and that is something that I think they're going to regret. You might be right, but they're going to regret that. These gaps in communication create more problems than just coming out and telling me the hard truth. Like Roosevelt said, people can take the truth if you just state with them. You knew we had to deal with the reality of delaying films, right? So come out and talk to us, or have that person in place. But right now, like I said, a lot of the stuff that's being put out there is just nonsense. And that's why, like I said, I see a lot of the stuff that gets sent to me. I see a lot of stuff, some people tag me and stuff. I'm like, who are these people? And I understand people have sources and stuff, but you know what? The truth, even if the source isn't a liar, the truth is so fluid. Reality is so fluid that even if that person meant well and had it all together by the time they threw it out on Twitter, shit changes so quickly that person now looks like an ass. And that's all we have. That's all we have as far as our window of information is the bullshit factory. And that's not good. I think that actually does more damage than just fucking up. I would rather have a company come out and make some mistakes trying to put this all together than I have to.
We got another couple of super chats.
Where are we at here? I had them on there. Come on. See, I need it. Hold on. Where? I got Larry. This one, MCU Henry, you played Superman, right? We have a character like him, Cavill. Whoa, cool. Nah. He's gonna say, cut me both checks, both DC and
Marvel. No. He's saying what he's saying is that he would play a villain if he was going to join the MCU, not a hero.
Oh, I think he'll play whatever they tell him. I think he'll play whatever.
To be honest, Hyperion, which is one of the parts he's been rumored for, is kind of a villain.
It would be a villain. Hyperion would be a villain. So.
The Rock is trying to appropriate DC history by stealing Man of Steel's shots. The Rock is like, you know what though? There should have been proper oversight and management. He's pretty much dry. He's the engine of this movie, unfortunately. Not unfortunately, but entirely. Should The Rock be the engine that drives this movie when I got $1 billion marketing department? And I got people that make 6 figures. That is their job to make sure that this movie's in the laps of everybody. People are making fun of The Rock, and all this cheesiness, but he's doing more than anybody else. He's doing everybody else's job to promote this movie. He's the star, but like I said, there's entire people, the no names that are that are scrolling at the end of these movies. All those guys, their job is to fill in all these gaps, and nobody's doing it. and that's the biggest problem that's headed into this movie goes. But yeah, there needs to be a communication officer, somebody that says, hey, this is what's up, this is what's down.
Again, they can't communicate anything in regards to DC until they hire a head, and they can't hire a head right now. So we're stuck in between a rock and a hard place, no pun intended. But it's just like,
whatever. I knew that was coming, but yeah,
there's not much they can do at this point. I mean, what would you like to do?
You still have a PAO, you still have a public affairs officer, you still have him, even if he's not for DC proper, no matter who they hire, because you can hire a PAO before you hire the head. The PAO just worked for the head. That's just his new employer. He now just says what that guy says. But at the same time, there's enough information to put out there and enough marketing to be done. There's a job to be done, especially with Black Adams. There's a job to be done with Black Adam. There should have been a lot more stuff going on with Black Adam. And you know what? You don't have to spend a lot of money. That's the sad thing about this. If people, if they don't want to spend the money, you don't have to spend a dime to promote Black Adam. You know why? Because you have your own networks that you don't pay with the commercials to put them on. You have advertising leverage that you can trade out that commercial time for other people's commercials that you can play it on. You have TNT, you have TBS, you have Major League Baseball on both of those networks. You had NBA during last spring. You free. These cost you nothing to do. So I don't know. It's just there's no strategy involved. And like I said, unfortunately, a lot of it is because you're in transition, and these things take time. You know, I mean, and like I said, but my only disappointment when it comes, like I said, he's made a lot of controversial decisions that I think will be fine in the long run. But there's one thing I thought that he should have been more aggressively with, and I know there was some legalities involved, but you know what? Find a way to designate an heir apparent to Walter Hamada before your ass even moves your desk in, because otherwise you're hurting not just one movie, you're hurting the next couple of movies, because it takes time to put these campaigns together. We literally should be thinking about how the Flash is going to be going. So, but like I said, that is for those multi-billion-dollar CEOs to figure out. Let's see.
No, notice how I didn't say a word, guys.
Now we'll get back to but no, I mean, like I said, it's a huge IP. It'll get better. Like I said last week, or when I was on, I think it was on Max. I can't remember. I'm optimistic. I'm really optimistic. There's going to be some stumbling, but I have to say, take the same approach that I did with Star Trek. In 2005, I wasn't in a good place with Star Trek, but I was optimistic that we would be. And look where I'm at now. I'm on the verge of having Star Trek, endless Star Trek.
Year round.
Yeah. So we'll get there.
Year-round Trek, yes, finally.
I need a convention Creation. I'm sorry, but I haven't heard the best things about the convention this year, as far as the organization goes. I remember when the convention in Vegas was the crown jewel of all Star Trek conventions.
So you're saying it's not worth the trip anymore?
I don't want to say that out loud.
That's disappointing. Oh, no.
I don't want to say that out loud.
I wanted to go down.
I didn't go, but obviously I have people that filter through here that have gone, that are here because of that convention, and they've been going since it was at the Hilton. You know, and then it was now it's going to be at the Rio again next year. I guess there was a lot of problems with where it was at this year.
I heard there's issues with the Hilton.
Yeah.
So that's why they're going back to the Rio.
Well, it was not. Yeah, but the problem with the Star Trek convention is somebody's got to drop $1 billion and bring me back the experience. Bring back the Star Trek.
Please.
Stop. Don't build another casino. Don't build another drugstore. Don't build nothing. Don't build a bus shelter. I need the Star Trek experience back here again, man. I mean,
just build Quark's bar on the Strip, man. Like
they should start building.
They're building a giant dome-looking thing over here. They
built a stadium for the Raiders. They could build anything. Come on.
Exactly. I mean,
just build me Cisco's. Just build me Cisco's restaurant, and I'll be happy.
Vegas gets a basketball.
I was kind of hoping to get in some Game of Thrones, actually.
That's next.
Because when I get out of here, that's what I will be watching.
Damon Targaryen.
Sorry, I was just clearing my throat and stuff. I wasn't exacerbated by the conversation.
Damon Targaryen is on my cover sheet. We talked about this in detail right after the episode. Episode 3, second of his name. Holy shit!
I haven't seen the show yet.
What is wrong with you guys? Damn it!
I'm catching up on the normal Game of Thrones. Sorry.
Then Brian too. We were talking about.
I've done both. I've done both.
Yeah. Okay, and we were worried I was spoiling, but I'm like, dude, that was
And you can actually do both, RJ, because House of Dragons is a prequel.
I know, but I refuse to do that. I'm going to do it the traditional way.
I bang it out, man. I got
the traditional way. Watch the prequel first, then.
You never watch the prequel first.
I started. He's going to Star Wars, right? I started after episode 2 of Hot D, and I'm up to. I just started season 6, episode 7.
Ooh,
so
we're Battle of Bastards.
Yes, I'm getting close to that. So
you're getting used to Ramsey, huh?
I hate Ramsey.
I need to hate Ramsey. Ramsey Bolton was oh my god.
Awful, awful.
Dude. He's already killed I'm not gonna say anything, but he's killed.
Yeah, no, just
man.
For RJ's sake.
The worst death every time you see him. I mean, even the actor when you see him and other
all
stuff.
I'll say is RJ binged the crap out of it, dude. I was up till like 3-4 in the morning watching Game of Thrones.
No, I don't know if RJ needs to do that because we got Hill RJ from him watching Breaking Bad.
Well, I got no heel.
He went Hill. I
still got to finish that, by the way. I saw like season.
Yeah, I know. It fried your brain. Now you went. It's like the gamma radiation. You went full on. Now
I kind of want to fry my brain at the moment, though. I'm like, nah, I'll just take a trip to Westeros. I'm fucking good. The real world sucks.
Agreed.
Dude. House of the Dragon is like right now as we speak. I know there's other shows that'll be coming on. I think it's the best show on TV. This last episode had everything I needed to see. It elevated Daemon Targaryen's character. I mean, he continues to evolve. If you look at the previews for the next episode, the dragons were highlighted where they needed to. The violence was definitely there, but the substance was there also. This show just doesn't give you gratuitous violence. It gives you substance and it gives you a concrete foundation to love or hate these characters. Like I said during our post stream, Otto Hightower continues to pile up a piece of shit person that he is. He does things in this episode that you wouldn't like, dude, I just want to cut your balls off, right? I just want to just snatch your balls off and throw them to a dragon. Otto Hightower, and I'm like,
knowing what Alicent becomes too, I very much dislike her too.
Yeah,
where she started and where she is now, I'm just like, nah, bro. I wasn't cool with that.
Yeah, and then she understands, you know what they want.
But I mean, it's not necessarily her fault. It's her dad's fault. But.
Yeah, her dad's fault.
Ultimately, yes, because as Rhaenyra's mother said before she died in the first episode, women are nothing but pawns, especially in medieval times. And this show relies very heavily on actual medieval European history. So, they're pawns, they're tools in the greater Game of Thrones, as it were.
Yeah, I loved. Like I said, I like him and the guy who plays him. He makes me. It's like Joffrey. You did such a good job. I just want to poke your eyes out in real life, but I don't because I know it's just a show. But yeah, the character building in the show is great. The dragons. I mean, just seeing more than one dragon. Daemon's dragon at the beginning when he fries all the crap eaters, man, in the beginning, and then he steps on the one guy. He's like, my prince, crush. I thought that I just got a good laugh out of that. I think we're going to see 9 dragons in this season, so we've already seen 3. We've seen Sea Smoke, we've seen her dragon, and we've seen his dragon, the Bloodworm.
Caraxes and Cyrex.
Yeah, so we have 6 more dragons to see. And then plus you have some age jumps. So you're going to see, I think after this episode, Millie Aycock and Olivia Cook, those are their last episodes as far as
characters. I want to answer somebody in the chat. Larry, you have to do those time jumps simply because if we told this show in real time, if we told this story in real time, it would take forever to get to the point.
It would kill the pacing because remember he did this in books and the books suck. Sorry. The books are drawn out. They're very descriptive of things that don't need to be described.
I just want to point out I disagree with my illustrious colleague here, but that's just me.
I would rather eat those books than read them again. And this character, and here's the thing about the books, that they have a lot of leeway in this show, and I hope they use it. remember the point of view that the books are being told is ancient type history and mushroom and people that don't really have a clearer view. This is conjecture, and they tell you that. They tell you that the show is actually what happened versus with their book. So I hope
yes, Fourth, there are other fantasy creatures. There's giants. There's the children in the north, the children of the earth in the north. They're kind of like fae. And there's also
White Walkers.
The White
Walkers, which are basically magic zombies.
Yeah.
With a purpose. They're magic undead with a purpose.
You had white walking spiders. You had giant lions and you had all kinds of stuff in the books.
Yeah,
books
but
full on crazy. But
there are more fantasy type creatures. You just have to, besides the dragons.
Yeah, the red woman, the red woman who became sort of useless in my opinion. That they didn't.
Yeah, she's a witch. Yeah, she's a witch.
So there's several of them.
Trust
throughout,
me, Fourth.
So.
I don't like anything. So like, if I like this, it says something, right?
There are also like evil wizards too. Like in the other lands across the sea, there are evil wizards.
Well, the whole Targaryen thing, they're all magic because the way they got their powers is being bloodbound to dragons and.
So, do you think that the Targaryens are actually dragonborn? Do you think they're actually dragon blood? That's something I've always wondered.
No, what it was is there was magic and spells from Valyria that they used. They were magic welders, and they used the magic to weld them to bond themselves, to bond their blood to the blood of the dragon. So that's why when they have the kids, that the eggs are put into the cradle with the kids because the magic reacts to them. That's how they're able to ride dragon. That's why if you can only be of Targaryen blood for the most part. Everybody who's ridden the dragon on this show is over there. Even Seasmoke, even though that guy was a Valyrian, his mother's a Targaryen and she was a dragon rider. John, I can't.
Brian, by the way, you went in raw, huh? Did you also go in wriggling?
Do we have to say that way?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, he said in the chat. He said in the chat. He went in raw, and I just wanted to know if Brian also went in wriggling as well.
Yes, like the entrails of a foe. Dude, I just
awesome.
I don't know. I've always kind of enjoyed genre. I've been disappointed with The Lord of the Rings / The Hobbit. So when this came along, or like it was one of those shows where everybody's like, "Oh, you gotta watch it, and I was like, "Oh no." That's why I said it. It was one of those badger me shows. It was like, "Oh man, you need to watch Game of Thrones." Like, okay, whatever.
Yeah,
it's beat me over the head.
To be honest, Brian. Here's the deal.
Here's the deal with Brian.
You
have to let me get there by myself.
Yeah.
Right. Well, to be honest, Brian, with the way you talked about a lot of shows that people have tried to get you to watch, I didn't think you were going to jump on the bandwagon with Thrones. So I'm glad to welcome you aboard with Game of Thrones because this show and this world is staggeringly amazing. So, welcome.
Yeah, I'm happy to have Brian on board.
I hope we get more. Be nice.
I hope I do. I'm looking forward to the Jon Snow series because I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but obviously, so there you go. But there's a series coming, but I'll leave it.
I want to know who survives the end of the show. Tell me nothing. Shush.
Okay. Yeah, so
we're getting a Jon Snow series. We're getting a Jon Snow series. We're also getting the Pirate Queen Nymeria series. Which
I'm just saying, I'm literally gonna watch episodes as soon as I'm done here. So like. Please don't make it to where I have to skip shit.
No, we won't. Yeah. The Nymeria thing is going to be stupid, but I don't think it's going to happen. Let's see. It's window. Let me show you guys something I thought was cool. I don't know. I think you guys might have seen it already.
The more thrones, the merrier is all I have to say.
Works for me.
Yeah, more thrones, the merrier. Just make it good. You know what I mean? Just make it.
As long as it has the 3Ds, right, William?
Well, I mean,
that too.
Like, go ahead. I was scared because it's like, why would you want to get into a show where like the last season of the show is universally hated? So it's like,
all right,
why in the hell why would I invest the time in that?
Let me explain that to you though, because the last season of the show wasn't bad, and I watched every episode.
These 3 a.m. mornings, man.
Yeah, the problem with the last episode, the last series of the show there. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
I'm so proud of this.
That's cool.
We just need pictures. We just need pictures with you sitting atop the throne now, William.
You're gonna get some of those soon as I'm done here. I listen. My broke ass, zero budget. That's styrofoam, paper, and glue. and there's a chair in the middle. People sat on it. I'm so happy with this. And me cutting it out. I used a little Dremel to cut out the edges.
That is
so
pretty
happy.
sweet. I like that Iron Throne.
And I used the Wonder Woman styrofoam thing that we got from Wonder Woman 84. So like I was saying, I found the use for look at that, see? I found the use for Wonder Woman 84's promo. Finally. But no, yeah, it's actually a foam that we can take it, we can put it anywhere. I can put it in the store. It takes 2 seconds to set up, and people when they come in, it's sitting there for people. So but yeah,
it's a real draw. It's a real draw, and I like that.
Yeah, it's fun. When Brian, the last season, people only remember the last 2.5 episodes. The last season of Game of Thrones, the first 3 episodes, some of the best TV I've ever seen. Particularly one particular episode that it was like watching the Super Bowl and watching sudden death hockey. And I'll let you get to that episode, but there's one episode that is probably one of some of the most compelling TV I've ever seen. After that, it goes off the rails. But once you watch it, some people had a different impression of it, though. Some people liked it. I hated the last 3 episodes of that show, but the overall series, especially now with House of the Dragon and then the stuff coming forward, there's plenty of room. The more series that they release with this show, you're going to have more room to correct things and more rooms for things to be relevant. So I think you'll be fine watching. I think you're going to enjoy it. You're in the best, other than season 4. Season 6 is the best, 2 of the best seasons. 4 and 6 are the best seasons. And you're about to reach some of the best episodes they ever put out. You're on what, 7? What's 7? But you're leading up to the confrontation that I'm not spoiling for. You know there's a confrontation about to happen. They're leading up to it. You know it's about to happen. Pretty much, you know that there's going to be some heads clashing, and when those heads clash, you're going to be like watching that over again. So you have fun with these last couple episodes because you're watching the second best season of the entire series. It's season 4 and season 8. And they're all great seasons, but season 4 and season 8 are like the legendary seasons that really made that show, in my opinion. So what's the best part of Game of Thrones? What was the best part of Game of Thrones? I would, without spoiling it, the first 3 episodes are classic. They're classic and they're very well done, and you feel like you're leading up to something big. And and then there's other things that happen. No spoiler. I try not to spoil Game of Thrones, people, even though I know it's been out for a while. With House of the Dragon, there's a whole new audience for it. So yeah, we got to be careful. Any double D's? I think all the D's there are moderate. There's no exaggerated D's in here, except for death. There's plenty of death in season 6. Trust me. And people die, beheadings, burning, flaming. It's beautiful. Let's see what we got here. But yeah, I wish House of the Dragons only had 3 seasons. If it's successful, it will be on the next 8. Okay, so what I'm hearing about this show is that the reason why it's called House of the Dragon, this is not the only part. We may this storyline may only be 3 to 5 seasons at the most, but House of the Dragon covers a whole bunch of other things that they intend to cover, like Aegon's conquest might get covered. They may go beyond what we know, because they might this storyline might be about the bloodline. And if you watch the opening credits of House of the Dragon, the way it lays out, and which is beautiful, there's a lot more things that can be added there. We're just looking at it from our point of view because we're watching it now. But what we're watching now is called the Dance of the Dragons. That is the first civil war between the Targaryens. But there are other civil wars that happen throughout the next 150, 172 years that eventually leads the House Targaryen to be in the state that you see it in when Robert's Rebellion was able to do what it did. If the house had been intact at like it was at the beginning of this series, Robert's Rebellion would have never happened. They would have been crushed. They would have been they wouldn't have even tried to. So you're seeing there's like 1,000 years of Targaryen history. And then we also have the prince that was promised, the prophecy that runs all the way through Aegon's conquest.
William, if I get a anthology show based on the Targaryen family out of this show, I will be ecstatic.
I think that's what we're getting. I really do. I feel it, because especially with the time jumps. The Dance of the Dragons doesn't last that long. And by the time you see them again in they're already adults with their kids grown. Because in Dance of the Dragons, and I think that the pace that they're jumping, I don't think this is going to be the entire 8 or 9 series. I think you're going to see an anthology, which would be splendid.
You know what
I
I've
really don't
always
think
wanted
at
to
the way
see?
that they're pacing the movie.
What I've always wanted to see on screen is the Doom of Valeria.
I would like to see that in a flashback. I wouldn't mind seeing that in a flashback. All right, let's see.
Because that's got very Atlantis vibes for me. You know, like the whole Doom of Valeria has Atlantis vibes for me.
Yeah, and then the Stone people, because they really showed that. They just showed that a little bit. Say, couldn't the series be the same series as the Snow Scene? It could be, because I don't think that's going to be the name of that show. So I think that's just a working title for that show. So yeah, it very well could be. There's a lot. I mean, like I said, the future is bright, and I know George R.R. Martin wants to make this a universe. He wants to make this a shared universe, and something like this should be.
You know what George R.R. Martin should actually do? Finish those damn books.
No.
He needs to finish the books.
No books.
I agree with RJ here, but that's just me.
No more readings.
It's been 10 years.
No more over descriptive books. No
Doesn't
more
matter.
long books
Finish
of
the damn
characters
books.
that don't mean anything. The show is better.
Doesn't matter. Finish the damn books.
Hey, if you guys are watching this right now, don't need no books. Just watch the show. He's never going to. This is going to be an ongoing thing with him. He's never going to finish those books, dude. He's going to be on his deathbed and be like, oh, he's going to have.
No. You see what happened? What happened with Martin? What happened with Martin is he sold his soul to the devil to get this story, and he knows that if he finishes that series, the devil's going to call in his markers. So he's never going to finish the book series.
I'm okay. You know what? The endings that have come out of there that are not, because the seasons book after what? The first 4 seasons cover all the books that he's done, right? There's not much after
season 5 and beyond is like new
and
territory.
4th season is great. The 6th season, I didn't need a finished book to enjoy that series. And I'm going to ask you this: does him making those books and completing those books, does that undermine what we would see in the show? Because his would be considered canon or law. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I want to see him finish the book.
Well, how would they work that out? Like you said earlier, what we're basically getting with this show is like secondhand accounts. It's like people don't realize that the stories that you're seeing on the show, these are all kind of like a game of telephone given by people that were sort of there, might have been there. You know, you're getting this kind of secondhand from other sources.
Yeah.
That's why the stories don't exactly kind of mesh. It's all like oral history. You know, we know of the
history spread over centuries now. You know.
Yeah, we know of the Dance of Dragons simply because it was written down. We know of,
written by who though? Written by the victors and the
But well, like all history, William, like all history is written by the victor. So, you know, we're getting an oral account of the Targaryen legacy with all of these shows, and I'm here for it. Like, and that's fine with you, because, you know, I've heard people complain about, well, the House of the Dragon's already broken canon from the original series. That's good. I hope it does more, simply because, look, again, you have an oral history story. You're not always going to have 2 people telling an oral history story tell the events all the exact same way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because in the books, Laenor's not fighting in that war. That Dragon Rider that made that cool ass series, that cool ass from strafing and burning fools up, and was providing air support. He never fought in that war. So
he fought later. He fought later.
He fought in the later wars, but he's not in that. He's not in that scene.
No, he didn't. He wasn't there to fight the crab feeder. No.
Yeah. You know, and there's a lot of detail about the crab feeder. A lot of people miss, especially Brian. If you're past season, if you're in season 6. But are you caught up on House of Dragon?
Yeah.
Well, you've already noticed that thing on the crap what the crab feeder's wearing, right?
Yeah, grayscale, and the mask of the harpy.
The mask of the harpy.
Awesome. That scene in the Dragon Pit, the way they filmed that scene where everybody's sitting there watching, and all around you just normal people, right? Until what's his face puts a harpoon to their chest, and then all of a sudden you look around and they're just creepily wearing these masks, and they start just killing people, and it's like, you know, it was great. And then the dragon comes in and just fries them and just starts eating them. I love that scene. I wept in that scene. And then the other one is where the sons of, like I said, I think we were talking about the stage last week. Probably one of the best scenes out of Game of Thrones, period, is Sir Barristan and Grey Worm fighting the Sons of the Harpy in that hallway. Oh, the way Barristan Selmy goes out.
Yeah, I agree.
He's pulling bulls left and right until he dies. He
almost took them all out, man.
Yeah, and Grey Worm is a killing machine. The whole time you see Grey Worm, somebody's dying.
Sullied.
Yeah. Oh, he was a killing machine. He sees a
unbowed, unbent, unbroken.
He sees Selmy fighting him on his own. He's like, "Fuck it, I'm going in." He just and when you see the last scene when they pan up and all these dead Sons of the Harpy, and it's just them two, and they've killed so many of them. And Grey Worm just passed out. He's bled so much he passed out. So yeah, the Sons of the Harpy were one of the greatest. I mean, because they could come up anywhere. You never knew where they were going to be. And then there's a mask. They took the face off of the enemy, and you just saw this faceless enemy, and they were perfect, man. I love those guys. Like I said, and seeing the Crap Eater wearing that mask just gave me vibes of them again, and seeing how stupid they were. I'm sorry, but Crap Eater, you're a loser as far as the leader goes. All right, you're a loser. Spoiler.
Yeah,
alert.
shall I point out that he was the only one of his people looking at the sky,
and decided that, hey, why don't I pass the word on that we need to get the hell back inside these caves? Because for one, why did you guys fall for that? You knew he wasn't going to give up his legacy sword, and you knew that particular asshole was not going to ever surrender. Okay, and he's got dragons. You think he was just going to show up without his dragons? And even, okay, say you're that dumb and you figure, okay, maybe he will surrender and all that. After he kills the guy who deserved to die for being that stupid, why did you all come out of the caves? Once you knew that it was a ruse, you have to know what's coming. I mean, and they're looking up in the sky and then they yell dragon. I'm like, it's too late. That's like yelling shark when the shark has half of your body in his gullet already. That was
yelling shark when the shark's already swallowed you.
Yeah, it's like shark from the inside of his stomach. So I love the scene though. I mean, every time the dragons come on the air and I love the way the cinematography in this show is, especially when it refers to the dragons, because it's just Damon staring at all these Crap Eater men, and then you just see this wave of fire wash over them. You're like, oops. I love that scene. I
love Laenor. I love Laenor on Dragon back whooping and howling.
He's the only one in this damn show that's having fun. He's having fun killing people, which is cool, but he's like, I'm like, holy shit. And he's just burning fools. Those archers, he's burning the archers. They have no chance. And
all I have to say is true Game of Thrones fans know what I mean when I say Dracarys.
Yeah. And they're saying it with a different. Yeah, they were saying no, and there was some dispute that what kind of grayscale he had, or if he had it, because they've been on that island 3 years, and he had that same grayscale at the beginning of the show. And grayscale,
I think he was burnt. I don't think that was grayscale. I think he was burnt.
Yeah, because if you remember, when what's his face had it, you know what I'm talking about, and he got healed by Samuel Tarly.
The Onion Knight.
He was
not the Onion Knight, the Bear Knight. Yeah, Jorah.
Yeah.
You mean Bruce Wayne from Titans?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was going to kill him really quick, but the Crap Eater was on that island. So I don't think that was grayscale. Plus, I don't think Damon would have touched him if he had grayscale either. Plus,
no, of course not.
All his men would have had it because they were all in close contact.
You just told me he got cured. God damn it, guys. All right, I'm going to have to leave.
What happened?
I know, you guys keep talking.
Spoiler.
You guys aren't even paying attention.
Wait,
hold
on. You were caught up.
I'm at season 6, man, but he hasn't got cured of his grayscale yet. God, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. It's been so long. They're all confusing to me now.
Oh, I know, and I understand. It's not. I should not be indignant, but the only reason I am is because I'm in the process of watching them right now.
Okay.
Well,
if I was watching them down the road, I'd be spoil away, my guy.
Shall we deal with the fact that somebody in the chat just called Jorah Mormont Captain Friendzone?
I identify with this guy so much, though.
She's banging everybody. This is not a spoiler, but she's had several partners. Okay, so
I mean,
And
even the goddamn even the fat guy from the watch gets some, dude. The fuck.
Wait. What's that guy from the watch? What?
Sam?
Oh, I thought I got her. I'm like, Sam, she did a fat guy.
No,
from
I'm
the
just
watch?
saying he
Really?
got some.
I'm like,
okay?
whoa.
No, man. No, man. He didn't just. No. Samuel didn't just get some. Samuel got some off a wildling chick.
Right.
It's like Jon Snow, man.
One of Craster's old. Never mind. I'll shut up.
But Danny he yelled that one guy from the Seven Sons or whatever the guy, Carl Drago. She's got a couple other ones in there.
Jaharis or whatever the hell his that guy.
Yeah.
The sellsword, yeah.
Yeah, and then then she doesn't
Dario.
Yeah. And then she's got the knight here who would die for her. And I know, he's done some shady shit, but you know what? They're all shady. And he doesn't get any from her. I feel bad for him. So, but hey, Captain Friend Zone. So I see it. But yeah, I love that show. I mean, I haven't done a rewatch. I haven't rewatched the show in a long time.
That wedding. Oh my god. Okay, since RJ's not
wedding?
here anymore, the red wedding was. Did we have? What was the purple wedding? I don't remember that one. Is that the one where
the purple wedding? The purple wedding was Joffrey's death.
Joffrey guys.
Oh yeah. I kind of wish Joffrey would have went out the way Ned Stark did, but watching him
purple. They call it the purple wedding because he, his face when he died, he was purple.
And the poison that was used to kill him.
Yeah, the strangler.
Okay, got it. And as far as the red wedding, oh my gosh, man, that was disappointing. You guys should have told me don't get hooked to the Starks, man. They're all dead.
The thing that hurt me the worst about the red wedding is killing the dire wolf and then sewing the head onto Robb Stark.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
It's that was.
I don't think Mr. Filch has gotten his yet, but I hope it happens soon.
Mr. Who?
Walder Frey. Shh. Don't say
how he goes, dude. I swear. If you tell me how he goes, I won't do it. So mad.
I won't do it. At what rate are you watching these?
One right after another, dude. I started
he's powering through.
Two weeks ago, man.
Oh wow!
Every chance I get.
By the time I talk to you again,
as soon as I get it, I'll be done by the time you talk to me again.
Oh, okay. Then we can talk. So yeah, I don't want to fuck.
Yeah, Brian's pulling it off like I did. So up until last year, I had only seen the first 2 seasons of the show, and a buddy of mine had them all on Blu-ray. So I borrowed them from him and I powered through it in 2 weeks, just boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. No. Robb Stark was my favorite as well.
Sorry,
dude. You have to admit
it makes me like Icarus more. Honestly, it makes me like. Icarus.
You have to admit that Robb Stark was a good commander. I mean, he was a bit impulsive, but he was a good commander.
Well, he was winning wars up until his problem with not marrying the Frey wife is what kind of pissed that guy off. But that guy is a piece of shit anyway. So, but like I said, I will once you power through the rest of the episode, we can have a much more in-depth conversation of because there's some satisfying moments. I'll just leave it at that. Especially if you felt the way about the red wedding that everybody. I was watching the red wedding because I had already knew it was going to happen because that was the last of the books. Watching people, I had people here in tears, dude. People were in tears and outraged. They were ready to email the makers of the show, and I'm like, you might as well email George R.R. Martin because this shit's been done since the 90s. All right, they just followed at that point, and there were certain things that they changed about it. But like I said, it was brutal. It was brutal, and killing pregnancy. I mean, it was brutal. So yeah, it was definitely something. All right, so go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, if anybody watches this show and it can have any problem with anything at this point in time, what is wrong with you?
Right?
Game of Thrones should stretch your conscience to the point where you know what's up and down. If there's anything not wrong with you, it'll solve that. So all right, so got some new reading material in today. I'm behind in my reading. I'm behind.
All right, I'm gonna cut out and go watch some more Game of Thrones. Y'all have.
All right, man. Let me know.
All right, man. Enjoy it, Brian. Enjoy it. Let us know when you're done so we can talk shop.
PlayStation shut off. Shit. All right, I'll see you
later, man.
All right, so we've been talking about the Sandman a lot lately, and I'm going to be doing that thing about the Sandman. So the people who are watching the show right now, this is basically what you're watching. All right, so this is Sandman book 1. So most of the stuff that happens in the series happens in this book. So if you like the series and you like the television series and you're looking to dive in deeper, start with here. This covers all the way through the first year. A lot of the characters that you were introduced to in there, including all of the enlisted characters that are in here. Constantine, the difference is he's a blonde male and not a female. That's played by Clara Oswald's character. You see all the people that were introduced to you. Some of the people that were introduced, like when he's finding when he's with Constantine and he's finding his ruby or his sand is depicted in here. The entire scene that you saw with Death and all the quotes that's in this book right here, issue 8, all that's in here. So if you are looking to start doing Sandman because you saw the Netflix series, start with Sandman book 1. This is a brand new paperback. They just came out, as you can see. It has the Netflix logo on there. The previous renditions of the book did not have that, so this was released relatively soon. It's very, for what you get, it's about $30 book, but it's thick. You get a lot in it, and you get a lot of storytelling in it. After you're done with that, go on to the Death Deluxe Edition. This one's sealed hardcover. This one
that's high cost of living, right?
Yeah. Not only Death the High Cost of Living, but Death the Time of Your Life. Both of these are in this book.
Oh, that's awesome.
2 full miniseries. So once again, if you liked Death, her first appearance is covered in that book that I just showed you. She's 8 issues in. But this is these 2 miniseries are the first 2 miniseries that focus solely on her. And they're written by Neil Gaiman and illustrated by Chris Bacalo, I believe. So starting off with that. Then, if you watch this show for any number of time, I love DC Black Label. DC Black Label is what you read when you've outgrown the current stuff that they're doing. And right now we have Batman White Knight Presents Red Hood. I have it's on book number 2 right now. I've been reading book number 1 and book number 2. Lots of variant covers. It's a very brutal point of view story told from Jason Todd's character. And I think it has to be an alternate universe because there's some things that it starts off with that we know didn't happen in the main universe. It's brutal. It's violent. It's abstract. It's classic Black Label. There's not enough Black Label on the shelves right now. DC, if you were reading comics long enough back in the Vertigo day, Black Label pretty much is a replacement for what Vertigo was at its height. All right. And then there's another, this isn't Black Label, but it's a very brutal Batman, Dear Detective. It has a lot of different covers from a lot of different stories, and each one of them has a small story to it, and it has covers and paintings and a lot of the covers and concept covers that were used from a lot of the Batman Detective comic covers, some of the variant covers. Visionary artist Lee Bermejo. It's basically an art book, but there are small stories that are in there. So it's Batman, Dear Detective. Not Black Label, but damn near close to it. And like I said, if you paid attention to me long enough, you know that Blade Runner is near and dear to me. It's one of the reasons why I started my store. It is my favorite science fiction franchise of all time. I think Blade Runner 2049 is arguably the greatest science fiction movie ever made. Fight me. And one of the things that came out of Blade Runner 2049 is the animated 13-episode series called Blade Runner Black Lotus that just aired recently on Cartoon Network and is now on HBO Max. And now they have come out with a comic book. So Blade Runner Black Lotus by Titan Press. It is it's very good. It's true continuation to the story that they put on Cartoon Network. Also, with every Blade Runner cover, no matter what it is, whether it's Blade Runner 2017, 2019, or 2029, which is a preceding series, you get a concept cover. Now, most of you, if you depending on how hardcore you are in the Blade Runner, The artist that did the concept stuff his name was called Sid Mead. Rest in peace. He just passed away recently. He had a lot of concept artwork that did not make it into the movie or made it into the movie in a different form. And for every issue of any Blade Runner that comes out, they do concept sketches that they put on the cover, like the Voight comp tester, some of the stuff like the android heads that they use to make the androids and the eyeballs. It's on the cover that I got in here. So those are things that if you're not currently into comics and you're not necessarily into superhero stuff, there's some superhero stuff for you that's a little bit more harder edge in case you don't want to get into some of the cheesier stuff. And then there's a lot of comic book content out there that is not superhero based at all, like the Sandman and like Blade Runner. So those are just a couple of things that I will be rating tonight. I will try to bring out a little bit more stuff as I get caught up on reading, because I know I get questions and emails all the time about what am I reading and what to start out with. So I thought I would do that for you guys in the last couple minutes. So that's about it. Let me go through the chat and see what's everybody. Okay, cool. We're all right. So we're probably a little bit behind in some of our comments. All right, I read some Sandman, but stopped so I can watch first, since I knew there was an adaptation coming. Yeah, and if you watch the show, it's a faithful adaptation. I think you're going to enjoy the book even more. I mean, I read this stuff back in the 90s and late 80s, so
I personally myself recommend those two Death series, High Cost of Living and Time of Her Life. Those are some great work.
Okay, do you think that you know what? The Sandman concept is already connected to the DCU, and as they develop vertical comics, they separated it a lot more. I can't say never, because it's been done. It started out that way. And if you look at Sandman history, he sort of interlaced throughout the centuries. Martian Manhunter has come face to face with him. Superman has come face to face with him. So he is abstract. So he exists in the same universe. But when they came out with the vertical brand, they always basically told it from the point of view that he is in his solitude. The stories never extended beyond his realm and the people that he dealt with. But it is very possible, since they are in the same universe, technically. Which cut is preferred?
He's asking about Blade Runner.
International cut. The international cut is the best cut of Blade Runner, hands down. It is the version that has the voiceover, and it also has the unicorn scene. And to me, is the definitive version that Ridley Scott wanted to put out, and the definitive vision that he wanted to put out in regards to letting you know that Deckard was a replicant. And that's my opinion. All right, because JJ, but yeah. I actually think, and I'll always believe that whenever there's a situation like that, it's a negotiation away from being able to happen. But I guess for Neil Gaiman, it just wasn't. I don't think he felt that it was as important as a lot of people thought it was. Same reason why he looks at these characters in the abstract more than anybody else. How he visualized them, both their gender and the way they looked, is a lot different than the way he perceives them today. And when you hear him defending some of the casting, he's steadfast behind whatever they did, and he also defends some of the stuff that comes up in Lord of the Ring when you have some of those people, with people kind of throwing shade at some of the casting. By the way, how do you guys feel about Dan Lindenlonger? We discussed this before. It happens in negotiations. From what I understand, they wanted him to separate from the production company he runs, and that's his thing. And the compensation for when you're telling somebody or asking somebody to step away from something that they built and is, their cash cow, was probably more than they thought it was worth. And in my opinion, will raise the precedent of what they would have to pay anybody at that level. Because remember, even like RJ brought up, Pam Bondi, all these other guys, eventually these guys are going to have to renegotiate contracts. And if you pay this guy an exorbitant amount of money, that sets the precedent for what you have to pay everybody else at that level, because they are co-equal. Because whoever that DC president is going to answer directly to Zaslav in the same manner as those two were. So you're setting the stage for whoever you're going to pay. So it turns out it was probably too much, but he was definitely in the running. I wish he'd have gotten it. He sounded like the right guy, but once again, it's not my money, and I'm not a fly in the room. So I'm kind of indifferent. I'm just waiting for the next one. I eventually think they'll find the right guy, though. All right. Okay. Totally got the general neutral stuff. Just curious about rights news. Like I said, when it comes to the rights news, I think that that kind of stuff can get negotiated. Just like, when Spider-Man it theatrically belongs to Sony, they negotiated a way for him to be used in Disney stuff. So I think that could have happened. I just don't know if Neil Gaiman pushed for it and he was the executive producer. I think that somebody threw him the concept of Jenna Coleman and she's great, and then and that it fit. And it actually, be honest with you, having read the books I think she fits in the show better than a male actor would. That's just me personally, So, all right, Chappie, what do we got here? I imagine it's going to be an unknown person or someone we haven't heard when they do announce ahead of. Yeah, because you know what? A lot of people hadn't heard of Dan Lin. To be honest with you, some people some people did know who he was, but the vast majority of people didn't know who he was. And to be honest with you, us not knowing who he is, it won't be a disqualifier because his resume is not going to be as open to us. And we're not the ones sitting down asking them the pertinent questions. Like, there's going to be a question and back and forth with whoever becomes the head of DC.
Get away.
Only Zaslav can answer. What were you saying?
Sorry about that. I forgot to mute myself.
Oh, okay. It could have been worse. All right, guys. I think we
could have been much worse.
Yeah, no. Ask Jeffrey Tubin. So I think we covered a lot. I will be back on the air tomorrow night. You'll see me 2 more times before the weekend's over. A different time for our Game of Thrones. I will not be at the bar watching Game of Thrones live this time because I'm going to be celebrating related my birthday, which was on September 7th. I will be celebrating it.
Happy birthday, man. Fellow September birthday. I appreciate that. That's pretty awesome. Yep. Mine's on the 18th. So.
Okay, cool. I am going to be at a New Japan wrestling show here in Vegas with my championship belts, getting them signed by Jay White and the Good Brothers and all those guys. So I will be there, and I'm ringside. So when you watch NW New Japan World Strong, I forgot what I'll let you guys know what episode it is. I'm going to take tons of pictures. You're going to actually see me in my goofy red shirt and my bolt with my championship belts in the front row. So that's where I will be. I will be watching Game of Thrones House of the Dragon later on in the evening, and later on Sunday night we will be back on the air to do a spoiler review. Tomorrow night will be the same standard Sci Fi Center overnight. We'll talk in depth about a lot of different topics and see what comes up in the next 24 hours. I'm going to try to have RJ back on because he's going to be paying in-depth attention to D23, and then we'll go from there. Thanks for everybody who dropped super chats. Thanks for everybody who added to the conversation, and we will see you at the very earliest tomorrow night, 9:30 p.m. Pacific time.
And I would like to acknowledge Larry there. Say thank you, Cy. And good evening to you. Long days, pleasant nights.
Okay. Cool. All right, everybody. And we are out.